Hello, welcome to Breakfast Central on this beautiful Wednesday morning, reaching you live from the nation's commercial capital, Lagos, the city of aquatic splendor. You're welcome to, today is actually Thursday.
Well, I was waiting for you to land, so...
Yeah, it was because I was missing you guys yesterday.
Yeah.
Breakfast
Sorry about that.
Central yesterday was one half Breakfast Central, one half Breakfast Extra. And we had a good time.
No, it was nice. Yeah. It was nice. I was able to drop in and
shout out to Judith,
thanks, Judith,
wherever you are in the world. Yeah,
wherever she is in the world.
Yes.
Was she going to AU Summit?
No, or maybe she was going to Angola.
Okay, so she cut the trip short.
G20.
So she said that's why she was. Okay.
Wow, you're welcome. I am Benga Boroap. As always, on Breakfast Central, we bring you all the latest news, insightful discussions. We dissect the big stories in the news. We also bring you the front pages of the newspapers where you can feel free to call in and share your thoughts with us. You're welcome to the program.
That's right. And I'm Joe Hansen, welcoming you to Thursday morning. Well, so much has happened right from yesterday and right from when you went to bed to sleep up until this morning. It's our duty to bring you up to speed with the latest stories. Do not forget, we're streaming live on YouTube, so you can join us and watch. And also at the same time, you can drop a comment or two. There's a lot happening, and our hearts are indeed going out to the people of Kwara State, the residents. It's a sad time for them, and this is a moment where everyone needs to have a deeper reflection on what really is happening in this society. Benga. Yesterday, I looked at it in a different way. In the past 7 days, or you'd say 14 days, a lot has happened. Let me just put it in clear context. In a month, a lot has happened in the Nigeria security space, and it's enough for one to start wondering where and what is really going on. You did have the President of the United States who decided to chime in and talk about insecurity issues. Well, that was pushed aside. While that was being pushed aside and being leveled down, you did have the attacks that started coming. And it started coming in trickles, and now it's continuing. A general was killed, which I couldn't bring myself to watch the video. I did hear the videos were on Telegram. They were being shared by the same the insurgents group. They were sharing the videos and people were screaming. Now there's a lot of back and forth even in communication when all these things were going on. It also took the presidency more than 48 hours, over 50-something hours, to react to the
something as serious as that.
Yeah. Exactly. But it took the presidency nothing less than 2 or 12 hours to react to political issues. And I'm talking about the SSA and so on.
The issues at the PDP.
The PDP. Yeah. You see the quick response. Also the issue where you have ADC member talking against the current administration. The current administration reacts almost immediately. But it had to do with the children, the girls who were kidnapped. 25 of them, I hear 2 of them escaped. One had serious injuries. So it comes down to 23 of them. If you are a parent, I don't think, you cannot sleep. There's no way you will close your eyes and sleep, Benga, that you know that your daughter is somewhere with unknown assailant, people that you don't know. How are you going to cope? So it's been a terrible time, for a country. And then you also hear that the NYC members
had an accident.
How many of them have died? You're trying to cope from here and here. It's really, I must say this,
it's been
really
a week of
time.
Bad news, more than a week.
Yeah,
and you rightly highlighted, the presidency and the government communication has been below par. They haven't stepped up to the plate, and it's almost like, okay, they're forced to even acknowledge some of his deaths, but it's quite terrible. Let's start off with our wake-up conversations today. As you know, that's the tradition here on Breakfast Central. Piers Morgan show, yes, that's where we start with. Nigeria's Foreign Minister Ambassador Yusuf Tuggar was on the Piers Morgan show, very popular, and he clashed. But there was a clash between Nigeria's Foreign Minister Yusuf Tuggar and former Canadian Member of Parliament Goldie Ghamari on Piers Morgan's show, quickly spiraled into one of the most heated exchanges the program has seen in months. Ghamari accused the Nigerian government of ignoring what she described as a Christian genocide, citing claims of over 50,000 Christian deaths and thousands of churches destroyed since 2009. The foreign minister firmly rejected the figures as wildly exaggerated, insisting that the government does not record victims by religion and noting that official data shows 177 Christian deaths and 102 churches attacked in the last 5 years. The tension escalated as it called her a disgrace to the Canadian nation, while she accused him of lying and whitewashing atrocities. The back and forth exposed a deep emotional dive over how Nigeria's insecurity should be framed as terrorism, communal conflict, or targeted religious persecution, and who gets to define the narrative. Don't take my word for it. Let's take a listen to how that exchange went down.
He's avoiding questions. He's avoiding eye contact. Instead of actually answering the questions, he's focusing more on trying to attack me and trying to, go after me because I'm not as familiar with the Constitution. I don't need to be familiar with the Constitution of Nigeria to understand that, over 50,000 Christians have been murdered since 2009. I don't have to be familiar with the Constitution of Nigeria to know that when someone yells Allahu Akbar before they massacre 200 Christians and burn Christian churches, that's not just banditry, that's jihad. And I think the reason that the foreign minister does not want to admit this is because they are somehow complicit in this. And, he is purposely saying that he is willfully ignorant, because how could the Nigerian government not know if those people who have been murdered are Christian or Muslim? The reason that he's avoiding saying that is because if they actually put out formal numbers about the numbers of Christians targeted and murdered, then they will have to admit that there was a genocide. They don't want to admit that there's a genocide, but that's exactly what's happening. And I'm glad President Trump and others are calling it out.
Well, that conversation, that's just a little we can bring forth, especially to you. But if you go online, you find the entire interview. It was a tough one to actually handle. And we did see the Ambassador Tuggar, who tried to, reel out. I think where I got a bit worried was when he was asked if he has the figures. And we could tell how he was scrambling and trying to ensure that he had it and eventually got it. But it wasn't coherent. It was neither here nor there. Okay, is it from 2019 or is it from since when you got into power and so on? There's a lot, but we're not here to further add salt to injury. I think what we're here to do is simply to look at it and then highlight some of the major breakdowns.
I think this debate has gone on for too long.
Yeah.
We need to just stop the killings and kidnappings and insecurity incidents in the country, because the damage has been done. And in order to honor the lives of the victims that have been done, the only thing the government can do now is to put an end and a stop to this and make sure justice is served. Yesterday, the Nigerian Air Force did carry out some air interdictions in the Sambisa Forest area. They neutralized a number of terrorists. Those are the kind of stories we want to hear, that they fold an attack and bandits have been neutralized and terrorists have been killed. And we need a sustained and hard campaign to put an end to this, because all this back and forth will not bring back the victims.
Yes, it will not bring back the victims. And I agree with you on the fact that we need an immediate effort being done now. But the truth is, this is where I would say two truths can coexist. If there is a problem, if there really is a problem with a religious issue, if it has a religious undertone or a tribal undertone, the killings, then that should be investigated. That should be explored and that should be dealt with, because you can't project into the future without looking at what the cause is. It's just like me coming to tell you now, oh, my feet is swollen, and you start giving me medication to reduce the swelling of the feet when we haven't actually investigated. Is everything all right on the inside? Are her kidneys working well? Is her heart working well? Because you treat that symptom, it will come back again. So if we do have an issue, watching that video of the killings, the live stream video, seeing that old woman in the church scrambling for safety, and then her nephew coming out later to talk about it on X and say that that was his grandmother and two of his aunties were kidnapped. We can't continue to have the ostrich in the sand approach and pretend and, conclude that, okay, you know what? It's just like saying when people come out to say Black Lives Matter and you say to them, oh, it's not about Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. Yes, all lives matter, Black Lives Matter, right? All Nigerians matter, but also the lives of the Nigerian Christians matter. So it's a conversation that we can't continue to sweep under the carpet. And, we've made it a political issue. Look at this video. What have these people done? All they did was converge to worship, and then bandits attacked, killed people, and then carried. I think this was huge... Look at this old woman. Look at this old woman scrambling to safety. It's
a failure of the Nigerian state not to be able to do the basic, and the most basic thing is to protect the lives of Nigerians living in this territory, regardless of where you are. This is coming less than a week after those girls were kidnapped.
Yes, so I feel like it's been a hard time. I open social media and my heart is heavy, then I shut it down. It's a hard time to be a Nigerian, living in Nigeria. Even a Nigerian in the diaspora, it's really a hard time for us because it feels like we haven't caught a break. Right now, we've even moved on from the conversations of the economy to just talk about safety. Nigerians just want to be safe. Nigerians just want to be able to go to bed and wake up in their houses, go to their jobs or wherever they hustle for their daily bread and come back home. And the government, if not providing the security for us, is failing. It's not a matter of if not. The government is failing us. While this is happening, people are standing up to on your mandate we shall stand. While we have made everything about politics. PDP, they're doing the ones they're doing in Abuja, embarrassing themselves. Politicians have made it all about themselves. Girls are there right now. Nobody knows what's happening to them. They've been, anyway, I don't want to say that because it's unverified reports, but it's really a sad time to be Nigerian. So anyway. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's unverified. Anyway.
And there was reports that some soldiers on their way to rescue.
Yeah, that was what I wanted to say, but I wasn't sure if it's verified yet, if it's official press. Again, the summary of what I'm trying to say is it's a hard time to be a Nigerian right now. Nigerians are just literally asking to be able to stay alive, to be able to express their freedom to worship, to not be worried about if bandits are going to attack them in the church or attack them in their houses or kidnap them or kidnap their kids. It's now a stock in trade. Kidnapping is a normal thing. You see people sharing accounts on social media of how they had to pull resources together. Even on this show, we had a guest who came here, Dotun Ojo, and was sharing an account of how a family friend was kidnapped. They all pulled resources to pay for his ransom. Now he's out. He's having to find the money to pay the people who paid for his ransom. Is that a way to live?
And then my worry is, and everything is going on like it's normal.
That's the biggest problem.
And then you had the vice president who had visited these families whose girls were kidnapped.
Before he visited the family, it was a Lokoja for Idris Wada's defection.
1 + 1 = 4.
A day after. And I'm sure they have intelligence report that incident had happened. You could have called it off. They don't care about optics.
That is the problem.
Or the message
they don't even care how it looks to, and that's even the scary thing.
And it seems the Americans are even more concerned than us that are in the country and than the government. You feel that they will sit up, would have appointed ambassadors by now. They're so relaxed about it. I heard their back channel communications. But, I mean, you haven't even addressed the nation. The president has only been releasing
that's what I said.
And talking to his fellow ministers.
And that's what I said yesterday. I said, in other countries, the president ought to have addressed the people.
Yeah, they are unprecedented times.
Not just because of the rising cases of insecurity, but the fact that you had a general that was killed and was murdered.
And everything that has happened, a threat to our corporate existence by another country. It's
really sad. Let's go on a very quick break and take a breather. We'll come back to continue Wake Up Conversations.
I said, the lady and people like her trade in starting wars in faraway places where they have no contact, they have no understanding of, and they can do that from their armchairs from a safe distance. It's a real life situation. This lady would not know the difference between a Fulani man, a Tiv man, an Igbo man, if they stood in front of her. But you can see clearly overnight, because it pays, she's probably making money out of it.
Actually, I'm getting $0 for this. I'm getting paid zero. I'm getting paid zero for this. I have been speaking out against human rights violations. Listen, Piers, as you can tell, he's not able to actually answer anything that I'm saying. All he does is just attack me and attack my credibility. So I think this shows the viewers exactly where the Nigerian government
is going to keep on insisting that he has not heard the figures. So that's what she's trying to do, start a war. They want to break up Nigeria the same way they broke up Sudan, and now they've run away. She's not talking about Sudan anymore. She's not talking about South Sudan.
I actually have talked about Sudan in other episodes as well.
For Sudan to be dismembered. This is what they do. This is what they do. What they try to do to Africa. Nigeria is the largest country on the African continent. It is the largest shock absorber to the African continent in terms of admitting migrants, in terms of freedom of religion. It's Africa's largest democracy. But people like you, who don't really care about the freedoms of either Christians or Muslims or Africans, will continue to agitate for the breakup of Nigeria, for war. The same way that it's happening in South Sudan, and you've kept mum because you've moved on.
The reason that I know that you are working with the Islamic Republic of Iran is because the Islamic Republic puts out the same narrative about balkanization. That balkanization narrative is something that the Islamists constantly use.
That Africans are losing their lives. To begin with, those figures are completely and totally inaccurate and false, and many in the media have examined them, they've fact-checked them, so they come from Inter-Society and Open Doors, and they've been shown to be totally inaccurate. What we have in Nigeria is a multi-ethnic, multi-tribal, multi-religious country of 230 million people. Our nation-building project is not an easy one. We have suffered from the effects of things that we have no control over, exogenous factors such as the breaking up of the Libyan state, the killing of Gaddafi, the proliferation of weapons and fighters that have cascaded down to the northern fringes of Nigeria and beyond, and have affected the entire region. The failure of the EU Sahel strategy over the years. These are all things that we are suffering the effects of. And we do have Boko Haram in the Lake Chad region that affects not just Nigeria, but 3 other countries, Niger, Chad, and...
Very tough one. This is a tough time for even the number one citizen of the country, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. This is a tough time. It's also a tough time for members of the cabinet. Also a tough time. So we're starting to see it cascade from the top coming down. My worry is the fact that it's starting to eat deep into the internal affairs of even those who are supposed to protect Nigerians. It still baffles me that the president has not had a State of the Nation address up until today. I cannot count how many times.
Overdue.
I cannot count how many times Donald Trump has addressed Americans. I cannot count how many times the Brazilian president has addressed his people. I cannot count how many times even South Africa president has had SONA, State of the Nation address. You can't count. But I think that Nigerians would like to hear a general. Bring guys deep.
The armed forces, they're trying their best. And Yusuf Tuggar said something very interesting just now in the clip we watched. Because the danger of a single story is to think, everything is not connected, or everything just happened now. It didn't happen now. And I'm not making excuses, but we're suffering from the effects of policies of other people that are very far away from us. The failed EU Sahel strategy, the killing of Gaddafi, small arms and lighter arms proliferation and fighters. All
I
of
agree.
that. But that's no excuse. You are commander-in-chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces. Your number one duty is to protect Nigerians, and Nigerians are looking up to you. You knew the problems before you
That's
put
exactly
yourself...
what I wanted to add, because
put
he
your
said we should
hands
not pity
up.
him.
Exactly.
He was
And
aware.
said
It's not
you
like
were
these
going
are
to
brand
be
new problems.
a leader. So do everything within your powers. We've had change of personnel at the top military hierarchy. Some are saying, why is the National Security Advisor not been changed if you change the service chiefs? That's a story for another day.
Yeah.
Yesterday, the Nigerian Senate did raise a motion that the armed forces should absorb 100,000 Nigerians on an increased
24,000
recruitment
Yeah,
efforts. We need to strengthen our intelligence gathering. Security analysts have said drones are the way to go. You don't need to have boots on the ground to cover wide geographical areas. Drones can give you
precision
targets, and you have eyes where it would take quite some time to mobilize troops. So we need to put all our efforts together and suspend politicking for now, because the way the politicians are behaving, both the ruling and opposition parties, it calls for concern. Yeah. And it doesn't inspire hope in ordinary Nigerians.
I don't know if we have what Nigerians are saying about this story, but I'm sure that Nigerians are baffled, they are worried, they are in pain, they are scared, they are thinking what the future really holds. Ikenna says the minister clarified that Nigeria does not record deaths by religion. His focus, he explained, is on the fact that all victims are Nigerians, regardless of faith. That's what he said. And whether you like it or not, many have said, yes, of course, that was a right statement to make, because we cannot single-handedly separate a Nigerian by his religion. Look at this guy, swinging in his chair, getting numbers of churches. Look at this guy. What is even the difference between us and Sudan now? Do these men even understand what a life means? Just one life. A brother, father, uncle, cousin could just turn into a statistic. That's the reality on ground. When this lady said on Piers Morgan that Nigeria has an Islamist government that is supporting Iran, she exposes the fact that she does not know Nigeria at all. Nigerian Muslims are overwhelmingly Sunni, over 90%. They lean towards Saudi Arabia, Iraq's arch rival. Nigeria has even accused Iran of arming terrorists in Nigeria. Shia Muslims are the most marginalized religious group in Nigeria. Even if it were true, why is that a crime? We are an independent nation, but it is false. It is ridiculous to accuse Nigeria of supporting Iran. That's from Reno Omokri. Reno Omokri did not speak on the girls that were kidnapped.
Let me go and check.
He probably would have said something. OCFA says you didn't appear in Piers Morgan to provide grants, but to dodge, downplay, and gaslight. The truth is, thousands of Christians have been killed in the Middle Belt, villages destroyed, and Leah Sharibu remains captive for 7 years. Stop insulting our intelligence with polished excuses. The world isn't confused about Nigeria. You are. The blood of innocents deserve justice, not diplomatic excuses. But in all of this, I know emotions are high. We also need to be very careful. Representative Miley of the U.S. Congress yesterday did say that the girls that were kidnapped in Maga in Kebbi State were from a predominantly Christian community, and they were Christian girls. I mean, that's false. If you want to do something, or if you want to raise an issue, you don't need to bring inaccurate facts to it. You're blurring the lines and you're making it difficult. So let's stay on the path of truth. Whether they are Christians or Muslims, again, it really doesn't matter. Nigerians should not be kidnapped from their schools. Yes. But let's move on to another story. And it would be nice to get your take on this.
Go on.
Yeah. In a video that quickly went viral, many Nigerians accused a group of judges of singing the politically charged "On Your Mandate We Shall Stand" song, the theme campaign song for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, during a public event, sparking outrage across social media. The clip was recorded at the launch of the Body of Benches complex in Abuja, where senior members of the judiciary had gathered for official proceedings attended by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Reacting to the backlash, the Chief Justice of Nigeria firmly dismissed the allegations, clarifying that No judge sang any political song.
Why did they stand up?
They merely rose in customary show of respect when the president arrived. Despite the CJN's explanation, the incident has continued to generate debate online, with Nigerians insisting the judiciary must remain visibly neutral and amidst heightened political sensitivities. But
let's take a look at the video, then I'll share my thoughts.
Yeah, I also have a lot to say on this.
The legal.
All right, so I have a few things to say. First of all, why do we play On Your Mandate We Shall Stand after
elections,
at the inauguration of the Body of Benchers complex? Is it an APC event? Is the Body of Benchers an APC organization? What happened to playing the national anthem? We're all compares. I know that the only way, typically in government events, when the president is arriving, you play the national anthem. When the president is exiting, you play the national anthem. Now, why this is happening is because the National Assembly started this. When the president will come to present the budget, it will be led by the speaker of the Senate, the Senate leader, Godswill Akpabio. He would lead On Your Mandate We Shall Stand.
He did.
And they will sing along. You know, they will sing along to celebrate the president. When they realized that they could do things like that and get away with it, then it's why they had the nerve to continue this method. What do you expect the judges to do? The judges are not going to sit down. They must stand up to honor the president. The president can't walk in and they are sitting down. They must stand. They're not the ones playing the songs. It is this eye service behavior that we have as a nation. This, you know, we're just pretentious people and we need to stop it. The president is the #1 man. He deserves that respect. But also he was employed by the citizens. He's not there to represent the mandate of the APC. He's there to represent Nigerians. And I wish that the president, his SSA, his PA, they see these complaints that we make about people singing On Your Mandate We Shall Stand at official events and put a memo to say we do not support it, we do not approve it, and stop being people of eye service.
He's president of the Federal Republic of
Nigeria,
Nigeria, not president of APC or Nigerians that voted for APC. This is wrong. And you hit the nail on the head when you said it's unnecessary eye service. Campaign season is over. This On Your Mandate song should have been packed.
It's not over.
Okay. It should have been, the moment he was sworn in, they should have put it in storage for the next campaign season. That's what you, but because...
Or when he goes to their APC events
you
they
can play
do
for
On Your
him.
Mandate. We're not doing On Your Mandate here.
Because of sycophancy and eye service, somebody thought that, you know, on official occasions, you should play this song. It is totally wrong. And I expect the president to rise above this. And his close handlers should tell the Nigerian Army Band Corps to stop playing this song, because they're the ones that play the national anthem at official visits. They're always with the president. They accompany the president on official visits. So I don't know if it's instruction from their commander or the band leader that they should play this song, but they need to end it now. And like you rightly said, it was Godswill Akpabio, the Senate president, who rose and started voicing and singing this On Your Mandate song during a budget presentation. It's a slap on the face of Nigerians. And the judges, like you said, it's not their fault. They had to stand up to respect. Of course they have to stand. And from the clip, none of them
sang.
Were singing the lyrics or sang. They just stood. What happened to our national anthem? If the president hasn't walked to his destination by the time you finish the first stanza,
repeat this again.
You play the second stanza.
You guys are...
Or you repeat.
In fact, the National Orientation Agency had released a guideline for how to handle government events, that on Independence Day you play stanza 1, 2, 3. On other regular events you play stanza only one stanza. Then the second stanza serves, I think the second or third stanza that serves as the national prayer, right?
Yeah.
So if you finish stanza 1 and the president has not reached, you repeat stanza 1 again. At the end of the day, it's still the same tune. Nobody knows what you're repeating.
I think the Chief of Army Staff might have to put a call to the head of Nigerian Army Band Corps.
And you know why?
Stop.
Benga, Chief of Army Staff's hand. See.
Okay, the presidential handlers.
See, the
just
way
tell
I feel
them to
now is
stop this on
different. I don't know why I'm
Monday,
feeling this way. Let's see. The problem is, Chief of Army Staff has a lot to deal with now.
Yeah, but the band corps is under the Nigerian army.
Wait, Benga, the band corps is playing. Has any SSA released a statement on X? I'm going to mention, as Bayo Nanuga released a statement. Has the so-called, forgive me to call him the man who talks too much, Reno Mokri, has he released a statement to ban it? You see, people who always talk quickly and condemn, why haven't they condemned their own errors?
You know why?
They've not done that.
You know why they will not speak about it? Because they don't think it's much of a big deal.
They're observing table manners.
No, they don't think it's a big deal. But I must mention that
the army is going through a lot.
Big deal. Why it is a big deal?
It's a big deal.
The campaign song of the president, the campaign song of the All Progressives Congress, not be sung at official events. Why it is a big deal is because it gives off the impression that the president is only the president of the All Progressives Congress. He's the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and at government events, what should be sung is the national anthem.
You're building a cult of personality. Bola on your mandate, you know, it's giving North Korea. The fact that you even have that infinity cap symbol is and the governor of Edo State is saying if his commissioners don't wear it. So it's not just the symbolism. You have that cap, and now you have music to accompany it. And that's how it starts. Well, before we become a mini North Korea.
Just to mention to our audience, let us know on YouTube, you know, what your thoughts are. Is it much ado about nothing? Do we just move on from this? Are we making a mountain out of a molehill? Or is it as big a deal as we think it is?
As NATO C will say, he will say, "Can a big deal."
It's a big deal.
It's a big
We're
deal.
streaming live on YouTube and News Central. But now let's share with you what our headlines and our top stories this morning are on Breakfast Central. This morning on Breakfast Central, top stories, federal government urges resident doctors to end strike, saying 19 out of their 20 demands have been met. Military takes over Kwara community following deadly bandit attack. And the Vice President, Alhaji Kashim Shettima, consoles the families of Kebbi kidnapped schoolgirls. Still looking at what's happening, the federal government has rejected the characterization, saying that no data supports Christian genocide claim. The newspaper front pages will be reviewed this morning. Join us for all these and more. On Tuesday evening, terror struck the Christ Apostolic Church, Oke-Ishegun, in Eruku-Ekiti local government area of Kwara State. Armed bandits stormed the live-streamed worship service, killing at least 3 worshippers and abducting several others, including the pastor. The attack, which was captured on the church's live stream, has since gone viral, sparking outrage across the country. In response, the Nigerian military has now taken over the community. Soldiers have been deployed alongside the Kwara State Commissioner of Police, Ojo Adekimi. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu approved the deployment of military personnel to the affected communities, while Kwara State Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak yesterday paid a visit to the affected church. Local hunters have also joined the search for the abducted victims, though some have yet to return from the forest.
Also in Kebbi State, another tragedy unfolded earlier this week as bandits attacked the government girls' comprehensive secondary school in Maga Danko Wasagu LGA, killing the vice principal and abducting at least 25 female students. Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima, through the order of the president, visited the Kebbi State to commemorate with the state over the incidents. Let's take a look.
On my way coming back from Federal Protecting Video Niger State, so we are able to approach, like we are coming from Lawrence. So this is our car. Everybody has run out. So everybody in the bush. See, they are shooting. Can you hear the gun? They are shooting. So everybody has to pack it down. Please come and help us. Come to our rescue, please. Police, vigilante, we're all in trouble. Everybody is in the bush. Everybody, they are still shooting now. See the community. Let me zoom it. Everybody is in trouble. Please, come and help us in Kogi State. See everybody run here, scatter. See, they are presently in the town now. Presently, see everybody.
Your boys are not smiling at all. I lie. àwọn èèyàn smile rárá. So this is a live video in Eroko City. So pertaining to what really happened yesterday. Àwọn bá wọ́n fẹ́ padà sílé rẹ̀, wọ́n fẹ́ padà ní. Àwọn ojú mímọ́ ẹ jẹ́ wọ́n padà ní, kán máa padà lọ. Ẹ bá fẹ́ ẹ mọ́ fún àwọn ẹ̀mí àwọn èèyàn ṣòfò. Ló dé náà ní no, wọ́n ní gbígbẹ́ lájà.
Well, what you see there are mature videos of residents in the state taking it upon themselves to find and take charge in terms of securing the people. Well, joining us for this discussion is the principal partner at Monarchy and Associates Consulting, Akinkunmi Von Thomas is here live in the studios. We'll also be joined later on by security expert Chini Omeje, who will be joining us via video conferencing as well. But Nigeria is going through very critical times right now as we speak. Insecurity seems to be a major concern, and everyone is calling for a stop and a pause on every other form of governance, while the focus should be on securing the lives and property of every single Nigerian. We did see Kwara, Kebbi. It's like it's starting to move and it's going round. As a security expert, I mean, a general was also killed, and we did see reports and stories from different quarters, also from the military and so on. What does this all mean for Nigeria's security? And also, what does this mean for every citizen right now?
It means for the general populace that are not yet affected, rather than all the news, there should be strategies in place to, move the policymakers to wake up. The three arms of government need to be challenged to sit together, because the judiciary is somewhat, permit me to say, seem to be paralyzed, that they can't act on their own. And this needs to be challenged by those of us that claim to be educated and feel we know what the answer is. Because you see, if we don't come out advocating with intelligence, or rather we just keep making noise and making news, we're still just at the same place. We're not doing anything. Because, we can't take up arms without permission. All the videos they are sending to us of those that have taken up arms, when you look at their faces, like I said sometime here, you could outrightly say they are not Nigerians. They're not Nigerians. And those of us that still have our offices to go to, and things are still going well one way or the other for us, I can challenge us or charge us to rise up in a strategic advocacy that can really make people know we know what we're talking about. Because you see, I was coming this morning and it came to my mind that if in a country that somebody that could be called an emir now was once inciting Islamic trouble, somebody that is a minister or commissioner that handled all our data one way or the other, has also been incited or alleged to be involved with proofs. And, my wonderful vice president too, that one way or the other, somebody is found in your house and people allege publicly and nothing is yet done. If you are in Nigeria and you believe you know what you are doing, even if you can still go to the office right now, I agree that we need to advocate intelligently for solutions beyond all the news and all the noise we're making. The advocacy should be very clear.
Now, the clip you're watching on TV right now is the attack that happened in Kwara State during a live stream. I mean, quite shocking. And this terrorists went into the church, killed a few people, and abducted a number of them. This is the live stream video of that incident. What we have now is that the military has taken over that community in Kwara State, and also in Maga in Kebbi State, the military, there's a huge military presence in the school. From a security point of view, what does this do, or what's the point? Many people, laymen, will say it's medicine after death. You weren't there to prevent this incident, and after they happen, you go back to the communities as a show of force, which is not sustainable, because at some point in time, they will have to redeploy those troops or security operatives you've sent to that place. So can you make us understand why this has happened and why there was an intelligence failure in the first place?
Well,
with regards to the Maga incident.
Well, what I hear is they've come to take up the place where the incident took place, which is okay. But the immediate border close to that place, what I believe the news and everything should carry is the fact that the Nigerian government made a move to check on that border, and thereafter a negotiation and, talking around that border area with the government involved. I think it will make us know they are taking the right steps right now. When they said they've taken over the community where the incident took place, I laughed and said, that's not where you should be. You should be in the bush.
Because they've left.
They've left. You should be in the bush where this issue where they came in from and where they've gone back to. As I'm talking to you right now, they must be stationed somewhere particularly. And with drones and all the technology we have right now, that's not anything very hard for the government to look through.
And also, we have military formations all over the country. The Nigerian Senate yesterday did ask for recruitment of 100,000 Nigerians into the armed forces. Is our problem the strength of the armed forces in terms of numbers, or we need to recalibrate our strategy in dealing with this type of warfare, the asymmetrical warfare we're seeing?
No, it's a psychological warfare in the sense that I keep emphasizing. If these terrorists claim to be Muslims, the Muslims have the strength to separate their formations with these persons. They need to rise up to the fact that these people are not part of us. Why do I say that? You like it or not, I said it sometime and I'm saying it again, that we are now getting afraid of Muslims. Muslims will make people comfortable that this is not what their religion
Yeah, but we
about.
do know that the terrorists are violent extremists. They are extremists, just the way you have Christian extremists and Hindu extremists in India and other places. Every religion throws up their extremists.
But what we're troubled about right now in Nigeria, is it the Christian or Indian extremists? We deal with what we have. I'm talking about what we have. We focus on it. And the strength of it is, just imagine if our Muslim brothers will rise up, the government will rise up, and the judiciary will bring every news that we have ever heard about anybody in government or anybody known publicly to have been involved in anything that has to do with terrorism, bringing them to law. It's a very clear thing. Why I call it psychological warfare is the fact that you like it or not, the way they are not dealing with it, even you, as we're here now, we're not feeling safe in Lagos. We're not feeling safe anywhere near.
I mean, there are a lot of there are indications that there were ignored warnings about the attacks. There are indications that some persons got a whirlwind of the attacks happening, and they had reported it to the security operatives, who we hear had come around the area, but immediately after some time they left, and as soon as they left, the attacks did happen. I'd like you to look at how our security architecture in terms of communication and stopping these things before they happen is actually failing us or is actually helping us. That's one. Secondly, while you answer that, please just also look into this. Just yesterday, the federal government has blamed all these attacks, the one in Kebbi and the recent one we're also seeing on the United States, based on the fact that they had made a statement that what they did has incited more the spread of violence. Yes, that's what the federal government has said.
What the United States?
Yes, what they did, what President Trump has said in terms of the invasion and so on, has incited what we see today, incidences of violence nationwide, that they are blaming the United States for that.
Wow.
I mean, this was actually a statement made by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume. Let me quote his statement. He said, Christian genocide, said in Nigeria, he said recent pronouncements from the United States have inadvertently emboldened opportunistic violent groups seeking to exploit international narratives and make bold statements by attacking soft targets. Okay? And then, of course, highlighted the fact that if the United States had not made such statements, these opportunistic people would not take charge of this. I don't know how you put all of this together.
So the terrorists watch CNN?
Maybe. They're smart.
I don't know where he pulled up that narrative or that explanation from. I don't know what he used to put that together. Because just check the records. Before, during when the noise started with President Trump, and even now, the ratio of whatever it is, I don't see the difference of what is making him make that statement. Then for the fact, I think one of you started
the communication.
Yes. The reaction of the fact that a general military officer was killed for a show of force, there is a way the nation ought to react, which will also send a message that we know what we're doing.
Absolutely.
I stand to be corrected. If the military or the armed forces are given the charge of, look, let's take the fight to them. We want to have a cleanup of the whole nation. Are you telling me, even with the police, that we can't have a cleanup in this nation? We will. But there is a mix-up. You know,
What is the mix-up?
We have rumors that jihadists and armed forces, we have in the present government, we have sponsors of what is going on. Then we are confused with the fact that who do we trust with information and who is the person making a loop of our intelligence gathering. Some of my military colleagues, you know, when chatting and talking, you ask a statement which is, we get into a community. Okay. They are predominantly Muslims. And you've come to save them from Islamic jihadists. And you begin to find out that they sympathize with the same people that are killing them that you have come to save them from. But immediately when you enter into the community, information reaches inside the bush that you are around. You don't know where you are. You don't know how lost. You don't even know how to trust your second brother that is even just a Muslim and you're both carrying weapons. It's that bad now in the armed forces. It is.
Okay. So what should be the next line of action in terms of body language response from the government? Because what we're seeing now is, it feels like there's more focus on politics, right? We're seeing the politicians.
Denial.
Yes, there's denials. If you watch the interview with Piers Morgan, for example, the Minister of, of Foreign Affairs, of course, went there and they asked him, what are the... Piers Morgan gave him figures as to the number of Christians that had been killed. He disputed those figures, and then Piers Morgan said, so how many Christians have been killed? How many churches have been invaded? And he said, we don't count these things by, we don't count lives by their religion, right? Eventually, he did give some numbers, which, again, they raised and said, that's quite contradictory to what you said earlier. Didn't you say earlier that you don't count lives by figures? Where did these figures come from? So, how should the government respond to this? Action, we know, is one thing, but in terms of their body language, the statements, would you say that they're responding the right way? Are they being defensive, or how else do you think they should respond?
3 focus for response. I said it, I'm saying it again. Everybody, regardless of the rank they are in the government right now, should be brought to law of any accusation or allegation they have against them that they have been involved in anything that has to do with Islamic terrorism. Number 2, our borders. Mention, you know, the media has strength. Mention our border areas. Show us the action or the steps you have taken to secure the places. Third and last point. The states to which we suspect these people are coming in from. I'm going to land with a statement that we feel they are coming in from. Let's hear the negotiations you people are having. Look, I'm having problem in my country right now. And I know you are claiming you are not tolerating these same people that are invading my country. What can we do together?
And what evidence do we have that they're not Nigerians? Because at the beginning you mentioned that these people are foreigners. Maybe
some of them.
I disagree. What I call my landing statement. In 2015, Goodluck Jonathan, there was an infiltration, which we have evidence. It is public. It's not from intelligence. Voting cards, movements. We have all of them. If you look at these people, fine, they have this Fulani outlook, but we know they are not from our midst. Then we had public interviews that these people came up. I mentioned 3. One particular one said, look, we don't have business with you. We don't have a problem with you. It is your government. If you Google it, it will come out. It is your government that is giving us weapons. The government should come out to confront that person or whoever, whichever society that is coming from. So if these people came in and we've heard that they were promised some things if they are allowed to vote and get ready to incite violence, should it be Goodluck Jonathan comes in or does not, just drop everything. When whatever promise was given to them failed, as in those that got into government wanted to continue government, and they said, look, we had a deal. These things are not big news. We had a deal that this is what you promised us. We should come, get ready to fight if you don't come into government. Moreover, you needed numbers. We came. Now you have gotten into government and you are on. You didn't expect this level of peace, but you have gotten it. Settle us. And if you don't settle us, we need to survive. That's where the business of banditry and every other thing came from. As I'm saying, it is public.
Let's bring in our second guest, the security expert, Chidi Omeje. Thank you so much for your time and joining us on Breakfast Central. My question to you is, looking at the security... Good morning. Looking at the security situation in the country at this moment, is it possible to have a strategy to prevent attacks on soft targets such as schools and the kidnapping we witnessed in Nigeria?
By the way, thanks for having me this morning. Look, if we're talking about strategy or tactics or whatever to protect the children, it's just one thing that we get to understand. The issue here is the political will to secure our country. Look, the attacks on schools or any soft target as you identify is not different from attacks elsewhere. If you attack our troops, it's as terrible as attacking anybody, because our troops are our line of defense. So what we do to ensure that these attacks are mitigated, that these attacks are stopped, or rather reduced to the barest minimum, I think that we need to, be very holistic in our analysis. If you want to do any root cause analysis of the security challenges in this country, you get to see a potpourri of factors that intermix of factors really that have given rise to this monster. But then, of course, you are asking me how do we go about it. We can go about it by, first of all, like I said, having that political will to say we want to stop this thing from happening. And if you talk about political will, it means that you're going to have a broad mind to deal with issues in terms of can I give orders and then the orders are implemented? Can I give enough resources to make sure that we have all that we needed to deal with the situation? Can we make resources available to ensure that we have more boots on the ground, more eyes in the sky, and more steel in our waters? These are the issues. As we speak now, the military are completely overstretched, or thankfully not overwhelmed. time will come if we don't take care, they will be overwhelmed. And if our military is overwhelmed, then it's all over.
So you don't currently believe that that they are overwhelmed? Because it feels like the cases that are being reported are reported now almost on a daily basis.
They are not overwhelmed. If they're overwhelmed, you would know.
Huh?
If they're overwhelmed, you will not be there in your studio. I'm telling you. But the thing is, we will not wait until they're overwhelmed. This is why we always talk about the need to reassess, rejig, retool our security architecture. Do you know that ordinarily the military ought not to be at the forefront of most of the issues assailing us today? But because we bastardized the
police,
the architecture, see that the lead agencies, which is supposed to be the Nigerian police, have now comfortably sat back and are doing more of VIP protection. And then every gunshot anywhere, you say, where are the military? Most times you see them, join task force chasing hawkers. These are not done anywhere in the country. We are overstretching our military. We need to, give some respect by making sure that we detach our police from some of the things they do now. Look at the other day at PDP. Can you look at the number of policemen, dragging themselves over inanities or not over nonsense? Meanwhile, our spaces are under policed. So it deploys so many policemen to all these politicians and their wives and their cronies, then leaving the whole job for the military. So what I'm saying is, we can even decide to say, okay, VIP protection. Let us have a special, let us train the civil defense specially for that job, so that the police can go back to their policing job. Anyway, back to the issue we're talking about. Look, I want to believe that the military is not overwhelmed, but they're overstretched. Okay. But we can help them. We can help them by increasing the boots on ground. We can help them to make sure we procure the needed weapons and platforms they need to do the job. We can make sure that we can help them by having the political will to say, look, we are not going to pander with politicians. Anybody who is identified as having a hand in this thing or as a sponsor or whatever must be dealt with, no matter how highly placed. The other time we read a report where a particular minister is indicted, has been indicted by media reports. How come those guys are not being, actually, investigated, or I believe get them away from our leadership role? So this is the political will I'm talking about. Anybody who has any item of complicity must be investigated thoroughly, so that we can see how we can cut off this monster. Yeah.
All right. I want to ask you what your take is on the federal government's recent statement. But before that, the former Army General, talk about the Chief of Defense Forces, General Christopher Musa, who was just relieved of his duty, had made a very strong statement. And in that statement, he had talked about Nigeria building a fence around our territorial borders. He said it is possible. He was one of the people for a very long time who was championing this cause. And that's why the more reason some Nigerians were worried why he was removed so quickly, because what he was championing seemed to be reasonable. He talked about other countries who have done the same, where we would have built about 4,000 stretch fence to barricade our territorial borders and stop the smuggling of weapons and so on, and also stop these incessant killings. What's your take on that?
Okay. By the way, he was not quickly removed. He has served more than 2 years, meaning that statutorily, if you go to what they call HECHACOS, armed forces terms of service, 2 years is just about time for any service chief to serve and leave the stage. So let's not go that way. Then let me look. I did some work sometime early this year. We did what we call root cause analysis, and we identified a number of factors that have helped to sustain this insecurity. And chief among them, like you rightly pointed out, is the porous borders. But yes, I read. In fact, I did an opinion something when the chief, former chief of defense staff Musa, made that suggestion. He talked about the need to build physical, walls across the border. But I don't know if the chief actually sat down to analyze the cost implication of such project. Do you know the thousands and thousands of kilometers of borderline? Do you know the topography in those regions? They're going to build those walls. America it needs, resources. I'm not sure they've been able to build walls across the entire border of the United States of America. So it's difficult. These things are very, very, it's a textbook prescription as far as I'm concerned, because that will not be very possible in 40 years' time, in 50 years' time, even if we commit up, because we have contending priorities, So the best to do is to probably deploy more technologies, and then, to man some of those problematic routes, that have been identified, especially the one that borders over the Niger Republic. The ones that can give us access or propinquity to the Sahel region. So those are the problematic areas. But I understand what the chief was talking about, the former chief was talking about. He was more or less frustrated, because despite all the efforts of his gallant troops, every now and then you see this. Look, let me tell you also, around June or July also, I was embedded with the troops of the Nigerian army at Sokoto State, a border town called Ilela. Then where we went with the troops to the front lines of the Lakaroa terror group attacks. We were there, about 2 or 3 of journalists, senior journalists that we embedded the troops with. And we saw glaringly the issues at stake. Look, it is difficult, if you know the way Nigerians and Niger Republic are mingling in that place, it's difficult for actually to see who's a Nigerian and who's a Nigerian. And, these are the issues. It is very easy for weapons to exchange hands. Very easy to these guys to sip in. The Lakaroa terrorists, of course, we all know that they began from the Niger Republic. But it was easy for them to simmer into our country, and then, they were able to establish themselves over time. So these are the issues. So border challenge is actually very, very key. How we're going to deal with it, I don't know, but I believe that what most countries are doing these days are introduce technology to probably, give you a good intel about what's happening along such areas. So for me, we have to consider the cost implication of trying to say you are going to build a wall over maybe about about 10,000, kilometers in our border with certain countries. So these are the issues, these are the challenges.
Okay. Mr. Major, we'll look forward to have you again join us. I'm sure this is a developing story, and we'd like to continue discussing the matters on insecurity in Nigeria. I want to thank you so much for joining us via video conferencing, and hopefully, please keep your lines open so we can also reach you again. Your expertise is well appreciated. Thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity.
All right, just to wrap things up quickly in the studio here, your final take, what would you require that the security operatives do now? The president has cancelled his trip to South Africa and the G20 summit. What do you think should be done now?
We deploy technology and special forces. We have special forces in Nigeria. We're not general troops. And if they equip them, we have special forces in Nigeria. If they equip them and they deploy technology, I believe we'll have answers. But what we're going through is a psychological war that is in place, and the strategy is beyond we are all together facing the same problem. No, there is infiltration within our intelligence lines. And how we can sieve that out is to bring out clear actions, judiciary, the government, everybody come out plain. Every accusation made, let's face it, and we begin to have the talk, rather than we talk about it and nothing is done. Troops should be deployed. Intelligence, ICT, everything should be in place, and we'll get answers.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us here live. Thank you. It's a conversation, like we said, it's an ongoing conversation. I will look forward to continue having this. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll take a look at another very, very critical story. While we're battling with rising cases of insecurity, there's also a situation that's on ground that's got to do with Nigeria's healthcare system. Stay with us. Welcome back. The federal government says it has met 19 out of the 20 demands made by the doctors. Minister of Labour and Employment Dr. Mohammed Megari Dingari made the plea in Abuja during a conciliation meeting with relevant stakeholders. The minister called on NARD to respect the country's laws and suspend its industrial action, reminding it that by labour laws and ILO conventions, when issues are conciliated, all parties are enjoined not to employ arm-twisted methods to mediate or foist a state of helplessness on the other party. In this case, the employers, the Federal Ministry of Health.
Yet, the strike continues. The question in everyone's mind, what exactly is the sole point? And more importantly, what is the actual situation? We're joined this morning to have this conversation by our guest, who is a medical doctor, the president of the National Association of Resident Doctors, Dr. Mohammed Salim Usman. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me this morning.
All right. So the federal government claims that 19 out of 20 of your demands have been met. Is this correct?
I mean, if that were correct, we would have been back at work, right?
We don't know. That's why we're asking.
Well, because you had also said to us in previous interviews, because you had said to us in previous interviews that until all your demands are met, you will not return to work.
Yes. It's not nice to call elders, especially when they have made public statements, incorrect. Let me just go straight into the issues. Take, for instance, the promotion areas that we talked about. We agreed that by Friday last week, all the quantum of the amount of money for the promotion areas will be calculated. And this will be forwarded to the Minister of Finance, who has assured us in one of those conciliations that once I have the figure, I'm going to give you a payment plan. We may not be able to pay all of it now. It will take some time, but we'll create a payment plan and get it across the finish line. I mean, we took the federal government at their word on that. Take, for instance, the issue of the entry level of medical doctors that was stepped down from COMMES 3 to COMMES 2. In fact, in my other presentations or discussions, I said that reduces the salary by 120. Recent calculations have shown that it reduces the salary by 150,000 naira. Now, it was agreed that as at Friday, there will be a response. A letter was written to the head of service. There will be a response to clarify that position so that we move forward as one. As at Friday, in fact, as at this morning, that letter to the head of service has not been written. The office of the head of service is not even aware that, despite having a representation in the conciliation, the office of the head of service is not even aware that this issue is up for clarification. The Lokoja issue is still there. We are still dragging back and forth. The professional allowance table has been corrected. It is time for it to be released. As of Thursday last week, we were told it will be released in a few days. We came back on Friday to sign that MOU as agreed during the conciliation, and we were told it will only come after 2 weeks, not at 2 weeks, not before 2 weeks, after 2 weeks. If you look at the issue of salary arrears for our members, in 5 hospitals that have between 3 months to even 20 months, we were told the compilation will be made as at Friday. This will be forwarded to the Minister of Finance. In one of the meetings, he assured us he will create another payment plan for that. It won't come immediately. We agreed. You don't have to pay it immediately, but forward it to the Ministry of Finance. As at this morning, that compilation has not been forwarded to the Ministry of Finance. If you look at other issues like the membership certificate, we agreed on that conciliation table that will take it to another body to have a conversation. As I'm telling you, the conversation in that other body has taken a nosedive. Now, you have I can go on and on all the other issues. For instance, the upgrade of our members who have passed Part 1, who are supposed to move from COMMES 3 to COMMES 4, and then 1 year later to COMMES 5. This is over a year. That has not been done because it has been centralized back to Abuja. And I've explained in previous conversation why that happened. We've agreed that the Ministry of Labour will write the Office of the Accountant General latest by Thursday last week. As I'm talking to you this morning, that letter has not been written to the Office of the Accountant General for the IPPIS office to take action on that. In fact, they're even waiting for the letter to start action. Now, at the end of Friday, after the conciliation, we came to sign an MOU. We sat down, we were very excited. In fact, out of trust, as of Thursday, we put out notice for a National Executive Council meeting to review the signed MOU. We went there on Friday, and we were told goalposts had to be shifted. 2 weeks were being added on multiple issues that were agreed to be concluded as at Friday were not even attended to. By the time I took this matter with the National Officers Committee to the National Executive Council, we were flogged. We were asked, why are you coming to us without signed memoranda of understanding, without concrete actions being taken on all these issues? So to see that a press release is reflecting that all the 19 demands have been met, please show us the alert of the promotion areas to our members. Show us the alert for the salary areas for our members in those hospitals. Show us the resolution of the membership certificate. Show us the letters that are supposed to reach the head of service and the clarification from the head of service. Show us the letter to the accountant general and the clarification or action taken as a result of those letters. You simply can't come to the media and begin to spew things as if doctors are unreasonable. I mean, we are scientists. We deal based on hard evidence. Show me the hard evidence that this has been done. Lastly, the 25-35% was paid. We sat down in that meeting. We all agreed that 40% of resident doctors have not gotten that arrears. The decision was that a remitter report is going to be generated from all the payments so that we look at what the issues are. Are they failed payments? Are they account detail problems? Are they name problems? Are they omissions? So that we'll find a solution, work around it. And we even volunteered that we can even go and sit down and do this together with the government agents that are supposed to take care of this. As I'm talking to you, that remitter report is not available. Even the accoutrement allowance that more significant of our members have gotten, there are still a large proportion of our members on the Give Me platform, on the non-regular platform, that we're still sorting out. In fact, we are even going to volunteer to help sort out the names. Oh, this one should be here, that one should not be here. That has not been finalized. So why are we coming to the media to tell people that 19 issues have been sorted out?
Dr. Suleiman, thank you for giving us a background to it. And from what you've said, we're very far from seeing an end to this industrial action. Unfortunately, from the breakdown you gave us, is not even anywhere close to 19 of 20.
It is not at all.
But having looked at this checklist and the reality on ground, and I believe you and your members are holding on to this industrial action to correct the anomalies in the medical sector once and for all. What does that say about the people you're having negotiations with? Like you said on Friday, you thought a number of issues would have been solved, and some of this government departments and agencies have representatives in the meetings. You were also ready to sign MOUs just to see the goalposts moved and another 2 weeks added. What does this do to the spirit of your members, and how long are you willing to hold on to your position?
Following the National Executive Council meeting, these issues were x-rayed. Every item on the checklist was looked at, and the National Executive Council directed that the MOU as currently being proposed should not be signed because goalposts have been shifted. Now, for me, I report back to the National Executive Council. If I'm called for a meeting today and that MOU is on the table and necessary corrections and actions have been taken, I will sign that MOU. And I will immediately call for a National Executive Council meeting to review the progress made so far. Now, permit me to put it this way. All these issues, all these 19 issues have been agreed upon years ago. For instance, the professional allowance table, we have agreed since 2014 that whenever you review basic salary for doctors, you would review the allowances. Same for other health workers. Since 2019, you have the minimum wage, you have the 25-35% adjustment, you have another minimum wage. 7 years, that adjustment was not done for allowances. What is the implication of that? Every allowance every doctor gets in this country is between 45 to 60% of his actual allowance. Now, government wants to go ahead and review the salary structure in the collective bargaining that has been stalled. Now, you want us to get into that collective bargaining with a negative in our allowances. You don't want to take us to the baseline that we belong to, which is legally agreed upon. You don't want to do that. Now, what is the implication of it? You go to negotiate on a negative number. I mean, is that not cheating? In fact, we even have a 7-year arrears. Shouldn't we, by right, be eligible to get those seven years arrears? No, the conversation is even now on, why don't you release the table? Why don't you implement the table? And then the conversation is taken from there. Now, the table was going to be addressed a few days after Thursday. It was now moved to Monday. It was moved to Friday. It was moved to 2 weeks. It was moved to after 2 weeks. As I'm talking to you, nobody knows the status of when that table will be released. This is just one issue. If we take time to x-ray all the other 19 issues, you will hear similar, same, or deeper issues. With regards to whether, how long this will last, it is entirely not up to Dr. Muhammad Usman Suleiman. It is entirely up to the National Executive Council. And for those men and women in the hallowed chambers of the National Executive Council of NAD, it is simply a matter of put your pocket where your mouth is. When you promise, try and live up to it. It is the only call I have for the federal government. And let me take this opportunity to call on Mr. President. I know you have a lot on your plate. The insecurity, the international incidences, I know you do. And I really understand. Even at my own level, a small association like ours, we have a lot on our plate. But please, it is time for you to really look critically into these issues. Perhaps this conciliation needs a bigger arbiter. Perhaps there are reasons why some of these issues don't want to be cleared. These are issues we've already agreed upon years back, have been flouted by the same government. We are coming back to re-agree. Even at the point of signing the MOUs, the goalposts are being shifted. What message does that send to the average resident doctor? That you're not valued, that you're not respected, that you're not appreciated for the work that you do, that promises and assurances and agreements made with you will not be honored. I mean, I was flogged on the floor of the National Executive Council. Why are you coming to us without signed agreements and implementable actions? Why are you coming to us to say, can we consider suspending this strike? I mean, it is the only body I report to. I don't report to the federal government.
Well,
Right,
it seems, yeah.
I mean, it's sad that we're still back, having this conversation. We'd hope that the next time we hear an update from you, it's to the effect that there has been
I really hope
progress.
So. In fact, out of trust, because these issues, we discussed them. And I saw, to me, on the table, I saw the genuineness, the concern. Even without signing the MOU, I went ahead to call to summon a National Executive Council meeting through constitutional means, so that we will beat time. We don't have to come and sign the MOU, and then we're now waiting for time for the meeting to come. And then time came for the National Executive Council meeting, and there were no resolutions on the table. Only for me to see on media reports that all 19 demands have been. I was now wondering whether it was another Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors that was discussing with the federal government.
Wow. So I think it's clear to highlight here what we've done here on Breakfast Central is to itemize and highlight the fact that the story that the 19 demands have been met out of 20 is a farce. It's false. It's not true. And that's the clarity that you've brought to the table. Well,
meaning that you're still on strike, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, we are still on strike.
Okay.
Quite shocking. I mean, like he said he thought it was another NARD, maybe National Association of Resident Divers, perhaps.
Yeah,
but,
not doctors, but then again, I mean, thanks for making it clear. Nigerians are hopeful that the strike will be called off, because I also saw some videos of people crying about not getting adequate and proper treatment at the hospitals because some doctors were not available and so on and so forth. It hurts. It pains.
It really does.
That we have to go through all of this. But we look forward to have you again. And please do accept our call when we reach out to you, especially when you have an update and we also hear of any other update from the federal government.
Thank you very much. Please help me pray for doctors too who have been without salaries for several months. Help me pray for them too. They are also crying, they are also in pain, they are also suffering. And I hope the government will understand. It is not the responsibility of doctors to save lives. It is the responsibility of the government to provide for doctors who save lives.
I mean, we've always shared that sentiment with you here on the show to say that we understand where you're coming from, and we know that the welfare of doctors is important. A doctor that treats a patient needs to be in the right state of mind, and needs to be taken care of so that they don't transfer that, you're distracted, you're sad, you're having issues to deal with. We want our doctors in the best frame of mind, having been properly taken care of. So we do hope that this matter is resolved and that the government pays attention soon. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Good morning.
Ooh, heavy conversations this morning. It feels like it's from one thing to another. But let's go on a break now. When we come back, we'll continue the conversations on Breakfast Central. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. The Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has declared several sections of the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria Arkan Act 2022 unconstitutional in a ruling widely seen as a major victory for the Advertisers Association of Nigeria, ADVAN. Now, the Advertisers Association of Nigeria, ADVAN, has said that its decision to take the apex regulatory body in the nation's advertising industry, Arkan, to court was to challenge some of the aspects of the agency's new law, which it described as clearly unconstitutional in their provisions, especially issues of outdoor advertising.
Well, the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria, ARCON, was established under the 2022 Act, replacing the former APCON as the country's main advertising regulator. Now, the Act introduced two key bodies, which happens to be the Advertising Standards Panel and the Advertising Offences Tribunal, to actually strengthen oversight of advertising content and industry conduct. The law also empowered a new governing council made up of representatives from major sector groups and other stakeholders. ARCON's daily operations are led by a Director General who reports directly to the council and serves as its vice chairman. Well, this might sound a bit, confusing to some of our viewers who are wondering what ARCON was APCON and what happened in between. Why are there so many changes? 2022 Act and the likes? Don't worry. Joining us for more on this to explain on the role of the regulatory body is the president of the Advertisers Association of Nigeria, ADVAN, Mr. Osamide Obuaye. I hope I got that. Owubawe. Yes, I hope I got that correctly. Thank you so much for being here. So I'm going to say this. I think for me in particular, I've been following this story, especially when the 2022 Act came into play. If I recall, 2 years ago, I did notice a lot of changes belonging to some of the PR and advertisers groups, especially on WhatsApp. I did see a lot of trend. Communications were going on in the group. Does former APCON, now ARCON, do they have the powers to be able to do A, B, and C? For instance, out of home, outdoor advertising, OH, and all that they can give you. Then there's also the issue of if you want to run certain ads before, they didn't have to pass through a particular process. Now the processes are there. There's also the digital aspect as well. That, you have to, before you start advertising. So many. But let's not, rush you with too many questions. Let's take them one at a time. So let's start off first with the origin of the body called APCON that has actually become ARCON, especially in 2022.
Yes. Thank you for having me. Before I start, my condolences to the entire nation on the passing of the general and then the lives we've lost. I hope we'll get the country in good state and do what we need to do to get the terrorists and the killers out of our sphere. So, at the beginning, and I will just be honest with you, APCON started during the military era. So I tried to bring some context to it. So it also started because a group of advertising agents practitioners felt they needed something from the government end to hold their members. That's why it was not Advertising Practitioner Council of Nigeria. So it was more of a practice body to get people to align to certain practice, what I mean? Standards. So over the years, like we as Nigeria have done, we moved from military to democracy, and we have carried certain things along without checking. That's why you also have a tribunal, which is most like a military word, you know what I mean? So tribunal is not normally a democracy kind of conversation. So became ARCON in a bid to start regulating the business of advertising and still keeping the practice of advertising. So you have a two-in-one body. So in normal circumstances, the practice body should have a conversation with the regulatory body, the regulatory body, and say, why are you regulating this way? There's no practice body to have those conversations. So it was now the owners of the associations like ADVAN to come up and start having such conversations, because there's no other person that will say this would not work and this will affect. But so if you draw it down from the 88 APCON during the military era, now 2002 it became ARCON, the regulatory body for the business. And over the 3 years, people have had issues. and has led to a lot of several litigations, as you are aware. And this is why the courts are not taking a stand and decisions on those matters. So bring the history down and you now understand where we are at and why it's a bit draconian in certain policies, because I believe it's still because it's one of the military creation that it was.
And now that you've established the fact that the courts have stepped in and it's less draconian and you've addressed some of the issues you had, let's go back a bit for the sake of our listeners who are just wondering what's ADVAN, can we break it down? You're president of ADVAN.
Yes.
What is ADVAN and what's their mandate?
Okay, so ADVAN is the Advertisers Association of Nigeria. It's a body collective of brand owners. So you hear a lot of advertisers, advertising, and all that in our industry. And let me just put it in a clear context. I normally say, not because I belong to this side. The brains and the wallet are the advertisers. We have the agencies who then work for us through our brief. Whatever they bring, we approve. So it's your thinking, your direction, they work, they come back, you approve. So the main body that does advertising in Nigeria are called the advertisers. So whoever you hear in the advertising industry was set up because of us and for us.
So if we would be fair to compare you to the Nigerian Bar Association for lawyers?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're the main body. Then there are other bodies, so the Art of Home body, there's the media buying body. So it's us and every other person in the ecosystem. I kid you not, it's created to work for us because we have a need for them. And so that's why we need to champion such conversations, such regulatory, discussions, because it affects us. Anybody that affects outdoor affects us, and it affects the creative industry. So the Triple N affects us. Anybody in the ecosystem works for us. I repeat.
Okay, so now let's talk about this latest court ruling by the Federal High Court with regards to vetting and regulating out-of-home advertising by ARCON. Can you break down what the implication of this is?
Okay, so the implication is very, very, very fundamental to the law. What it says to you now and to Nigerians is that there is a certain aspect of advertising, which is out of home, which is key, cannot be regulated by ARCON. And I will bring you to light. Okay, so in 2004, I was working in a multinational company, and we had issues with the whole local government people and branded vehicles. And we went back, and the legal director came back and said, they are empowered by law. So far back at 2004, we on this side of the divide had a feeling of what who controls outdoor. So the section is in Schedule 4. I'm not a lawyer because we had to get to know more about it.
Team,
legal team. So it says advertising and the hoarding. So advertising is the material, the hoarding is the body. You see what I'm saying? So it's a, and in most cases, I will always trust the Nigerian courts to always stick to the Constitution. And so that's why the Nigerian court has said it is not constitutional, because the Constitution has created it as a local government Schedule 4 item. And you cannot pick it. The way the Constitution works is the exclusive list for federal, and then the other people that can do that. You cannot then do someone else's own. It's not allowed. That's what they say. And it's a landmark ruling because it's part of what we had also said at the beginning, that there's some sections in this law that is not constitutional. I also want to bring you to the first case that was well publicized, the one that had to do with, ARCON had the right to vet digital material.
Exactly. I wanted to go there.
You guys need to read the CTC. The judge said, you cannot then fine them. So they summon you to the tribunal, and that part has gone, and then they fine you.
Okay.
And the judge said that fining them is unconstitutional and voided it because it's only courts. You remember the case of the broadcast NBC?
NBC.
It was the broadcast house that said, and the court still holds the same principle, that you cannot fine people that way. Bring them to court, let courts do the fining. So telling me I've done an infringement, bringing me to the ARCON tribunal and asking me to pay a fine, the court has also said you cannot make people pay fines. So the case is now getting clearer.
It's getting clearer, but I mean, for advertisers, especially practitioners, there's also a big challenge. I mean, we're still going to touch on the digital aspect. But there's a recent ruling, Mr. Bushi. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the one that has to do with the outdoor.
Yes, the outdoor, and the outdoor, Mr. Bushi.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you also have Akon coming through and saying you cannot advertise. And then they sued them for 1 million naira. And then we hear Mr. Bushi has won the case, and therefore they're also going to. Can you touch on that as well?
So it was based on they had an out of home display, and Akon was like, you didn't get vetting to display that. So this is an out of home.
Yes.
You didn't get vetting, get someone to the tribunal, ask to pay $1 million. The conversation goes deep into when you go to the tribunal, who gets summoned is the MD of the organization. And then whenever you pay, you are asked to plead guilty. So as an MD and EdCon, and it's a criminal offense. So advertising now has been criminalized. But they had the right to send you to jail. I kid you not.
Wow.
So you think you're just doing normal, you're in your office, and then one day, let me tell you how people don't think of implications. If I'm a smart guy, and you and the MD of a former company that has been found guilty, and I'm contesting against you in an election, I'll allow you to win. I go to tribunal. A criminal cannot hold any position in Nigeria. Political position, you don't give it to criminals in Nigeria. You see how I would just take that mantle from you. So when we're doing stuff, we should also understand what the implications are for the larger body. A politician that is an MD now, that goes to contest for a position, can lose it at the tribunal because I would summon Freedom of Information Act, get APCON to submit because you've signed, whether in person or a representative on behalf of you, pleaded guilty, signed. So people need to understand how deep these laws go. It's not a criminal act. You can be sent to court, to jail rather.
So what are the members of ADVAN now currently?
Okay, so thank you. The members of ADVAN, I would say at first, the guys that advertise. So we have the large corporates, the multinationals. So that's where the budget sits. That's why I say the budget. And then we have the other guys at SME. For the SMEs, they can join for free. And we don't even have subscription for them. So it's the large guys that pay the subscription.
Happy to hear that.
So if you're an SME, I'm just telling you now, and you're making anything, planting chips, you're trying to grow the economy, you're trying to do well for yourself, please and please and please, you're welcome to ADVAN. We also do advocacy for them and we train.
Those are some of the benefits.
Of joining So advanced advocacy will train you. We also engage with your various regulators on your behalf and try and sit and see how we can get things sorted out in one way or the other. So it's a whole package.
How well is ADVAN leveraging digital media, especially looking at the relationship with influencers and content creators? So you have them as part of your members?
So we don't have individual members. It's the brand. But you then have a representative of the brand that sits with us. We're also looking at that piece. So if you're building a brand and you have an influencer brand you're building and you want your brand to be part of ADVAN, you can do that. Then you can then sit in as a representative, but you must have a brand.
So what would be the benefit for them if you were to say to an influencer, come and join us?
So the benefit, they already know. So just imagine you're in the same room with the guys that own the budget. Just imagine you're in the same room with the guys that have the brains of where marketing should be and should be, because we are exposed to far and wide, across borders. So you could meet an influencer and then you have a conversation with us, and we're bringing you to aspects, to regions you've never thought of what you could do. We just only advise that they should please check their stories and make it right and make everything good, because brands, by our nature, don't like anything negative that will impact us. We don't, which is also why a lot of people felt this law would just happen. They were hoping, they were counting on the fact that big brands are afraid of negative news, but they didn't reckon on the Nigerian small brands that are so powerful and so ready to fight for their own rights.
Now let's talk about the present day contemporary realities we have around us, the proliferation of social media, the growth of social media influencers. You have a Cristiano Ronaldo, for example. If he puts up an advert, or Beyonce, it's more than what an advertising agency would even, the reach is premium. So how do you see that as a threat to traditional advertising, or is it complementary?
It is part of the whole conversation. That's what I tell people. So back then when I was coming up the ladder, far back 2006, when the whole digital piece started, I had a lot of time in my arms to kind of really investigate and deep dive. So basically, it's audience message. So social media is like TV. It's just a channel. So you have to also get your messaging right under the right audience. You see what I'm saying? So it's part of what we do. And what we do also in our industry is something comes up, like even AI. We're embracing it. So we have no issues with the influencers. We just need you as an influencer to also be true to your brand. Don't be an influencer for a brand today and be involved in something else tomorrow that will make us not want to touch you.
Anyway, benefits.
Yeah, so they need to guide that. Because most times when they come to us and they want to have to partner or do one or two things, we really investigate or research them, scrutinize them.
Yeah. So when you say you don't want them to be, are you saying that you don't want them to maybe align themselves with different brands?
No. I'm just saying you have to watch your own brand.
Okay.
Because if your brand is tarnished in one way or the other, like you have a controversy, and somebody is taking you out on social media, brands will then run from you.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And then your personal principles and
it's
ethos. For example, I don't think you would advertise for cigarette brand.
No,
would you?
I don't smoke.
Exactly.
Yeah, we also do that. We had influencers before, and the whole contract says if you are my brand's ambassador or my influencer, I would not like to see you holding another brand in public. So you need to define lines. Because you already say to people, this is where I belong, this is what you should drink, and then you go behind my back and then people taking shots of you drinking something else.
You can't do breakfast extra in News Central and then you go to CNN and present the evening news.
No. It's funny how. Anyway, just to wrap things up in this conversation, as we look to wrap up, can you share with us how people can become members? Because someone is watching now within the industry and space and they want to be members of Advan. How can they go about it?
So it's simple. You go onto our website and then just type Advan. We've also marked that name so it plays us up immediately. You know how you buy content and then it becomes yours. Yeah. So they go there and then they have ability of sending us a mail. Also, our office at 14 Salvation Road, Kebbi. We walk down and then have a conversation for those that are in Lagos. And we hope to have more members coming because it's an industry that can still do more. We just need to ensure the regulation is right. And it's an industry that it can even help build the Nigerian narrative. Because most of the countries we travel to, it's not to the government house, it's to their brands. You know what I mean? And people would like.
Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Osamede Obawe, the president of the Advertisers Association of Nigeria, Advan. We did enjoy speaking with you. It reminds me of Idi Amin of Uganda. There was a time he sat with the president of the Uganda Medical Association, and he said, the president was introducing himself, I'm president. He said, no, you will never use that. There's only one president in this country. You're chairman of Uganda Medical Association. You cannot be president. But we're happy to have the president of the Advertising Association of Nigeria.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time.
Anyway, while you're here with us, let's quickly, Olive.
Let's move to our next story. The Vice President, Kashim Shettima, has condemned the kidnap of 25 schoolgirls from a secondary school in Kebbi, which occurred on Monday the 17th. The Vice President visited the community and conveyed the regret of President Bola Tinubu over the abduction of the girls, the school principal, and the killing of Brigadier General Musa Uba in a separate event in Maiduguri, Borno State. New Central State House correspondent Bettina Nwili brings us more in this report.
Speaking in Burning Kebbi on the president's directive, the vice president described the attack as an assault on the nation's collective conscience. He assured families that the federal government is deploying all instruments of state to rescue the girls and ensure those responsible face the full weight of justice.
When one child is taken, every home in this nation grieves. When girls, the safety of their classroom, are seized by criminals, our collective conscience is assaulted. And he has sent me to assure you that this is not a moment for politics. This grief transcends party lines, geography, and identity.
Senator Kashim Shettima also commended security agencies, community leaders, and the Kebbi state government for their solidarity and ongoing efforts. Governor Nasir Idris, in response, thanked President Tinubu for his swift intervention and expressed optimism that the abducted schoolgirls will soon be rescued.
And we know that the federal government is doing everything possible together with the security agencies to rescue these our daughters. And I felt and heart.
Authorities have reaffirmed that this tragedy will not be ignored and that the nation remains united until every child is safely reunited with her family. In Abuja, for News Central, Bettina Nwili.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has directed the military and security agencies to comb the forest of Ekiti and Kwara states to rescue Nigerians abducted from a church in Kwara. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Muhammad Idris, spoke to newsmen in Abuja, informing them of the president's directives, saying that President Tinubu has postponed his attendance of the G20 leaders meeting in South Africa and will be focusing on tackling current insecurity challenges affecting the country.
The recent tragic killings of high-ranking Army general, the abduction of students in Kebbi State, and the attack on a church in Kwara State, amongst others, are a stark and painful reminder of the threat that we all face as a nation. This heinous attack on those dedicated to our protection and on the future of our youth, and the assault on our places of worship only strengthens our resolve. That means the resolve of the federal government to rise above the challenges and deal a permanent blow to terrorism once and for all in this country. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has postponed his international engagements, particularly the G20 meetings in South Africa, to allow him to focus on the developments within Nigeria. The President has also directed the military, the police, and other security agencies to deploy more men in Eruku and the entire Ekiti local government area of Kwara State.
Away from that, Nigeria's federal highways have increasingly become corridors of fear, especially now that we're going into the hashtag Dirty December or the Ember Months. In 2025 alone, bandits and kidnappers have turned once busy routes linking states into dangerous and uncertain journeys, especially the roads passing through or connecting Kogi to Kwara, the FCT, Nasarawa, Edo, Ekiti, and Lagos. News Central's Mana Balagbobo brings us more on this report.
Nigeria's highways connect people and strengthens commerce. For many travelers in 2025, they have become symbols of fear and danger. Across the Egbe-Eruku belt, the Isonlu-Kaba corridor, and major federal routes cutting through Kogi, road users say bandits and kidnappers now shape their travel decisions.
Mopa, Isolu, and Egbe and all this side is very worse now. And before that side, they were around something 10. In the PM, no wahala. I'm nowadays now, you know, for again. Come more afternoon now in affair. How about night?
Once 6 o'clock, 4 to 6 night, every driver will be afraid of following that road to Abuja. Because you will have.
For transporters, the insecurity is reshaping their livelihood. As some now take fewer trips, others say every journey demands courage and sometimes a reliance on luck.
Since 2018, that is the year we have make money. From 2019 to date, we don't have much passenger.
And you will come here, you will buy fare for motor before you know your fare don't finish. At the end of the day, you don't see where to go. No journey, and family day house. They want it. And when you don't move from month for house, the father say, my father don't go work. Since one night we don't take gas. Notice I feel both of even 1,000.
Passengers are not immune. Many now travel only when absolutely necessary, weighing the risks against the importance of their journey.
And I think the security, they are trying their best, but it's not showing because every day we experience people complaining about the road.
From what is happening in our society, I'm not even supposed to leave my room to anywhere. But today, we have a national meeting assigned Arewa Youth and Women Association for Good Governance. I'm the state women leader, and they call us for a meeting, and it's compulsory for me to go. If not, what is happening now, all of us, we are always afraid for us to enter roads because of kidnapper, bandits.
Security agencies, however, say operations continue across forested belts and flashpoints until the roads are rebuilt and security is visibly strengthened. Transporters and commuters say Nigeria's federal highways will remain risky corridors instead of safe passageways. In Kogi for News Central, Morno Balagbubu.
Great reports there by Balagbubu. Well, the Ember months are here, like we rightly said. Let's hope that Nigeria's security challenges will actually be solved as we count down to the period where Nigerians gather together to go home, the festivities and the likes. We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we have the news to bring to you, and then subsequently also the front pages of the newspapers. Do well to stay with us. This is Breakfast Central.
Hello, welcome to Breakfast Central. News headlines. I am Benga Aborowa. We begin the news with matters and insecurity as the United States is about to hold Nigeria's government accountable of a series of attacks and abductions of school children across the country. Senator from Idaho, Jim Risch, says the Nigerian government has long failed to prevent school children from jihadist and criminal abductions. In a post on X, the lawmaker who chairs the United States Foreign Relations Committee says students, particularly schoolgirls, remain at heightened risk of enslavement, conversion, and ransom. His comments come amidst recent attacks and abductions in Nigeria. The President and Commander-in-Chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has directed the military and security agencies to comb the forest of Ekiti and Kwara states to rescue Nigerians abducted after bandits' attacks on the CAC church in Kwara. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, spoke to newsmen in the nation's capital, Abuja, informing them of the President's directive, saying that President Tinubu has postponed his attendance of the G20 leaders' meeting in South Africa and will be focusing on tackling current insecurity challenges affecting the country. Now, still on insecurity, the federal government has dismissed the characterization of Nigeria as a country of particular concern by the United States government, saying that ongoing insecurity crisis in the country has been misrepresented as a Christian genocide. The secretary to the government of the Federation, George Akume, spoke to newsmen in Abuja, saying that the misrepresentation has fueled extremists that do not mean well for the country and undermines current efforts to tackling the crisis. Akume said that Nigeria's government currently rejects the characterization as there is no evidence or data that supports the claim.
Recent pronouncements from the United States have inadvertently emboldened opportunistic violent groups seeking to exploit international narratives and make bold statements by attacking soft targets. Nigeria does not accept its characterization as a country where genocide is being perpetrated against Christians or any group. Verified evidence shows that insurgents and criminal networks attacked both churches and mosques. We are doing this for emphasis. Churches and mosques, killing Muslims and Christians alike.
The Commissioner of Police in Kogi State Police Command, CP Naziru Bello Kankarofi, alongside the Kogi State Security Advisor, Commodore Jerry Omodara, retired on Wednesday, embarked on a confidence-building patrol along Obajana, Kaba, and Ahere roads. According to CSP William Ayat, the police spokesman, the patrol aims to reassure residents amidst rising concerns of the banditry and abductions in the area. CSP Ayat emphasized that CP Naziru is proactively stepping up security efforts. He said that the confidence-building patrol along the key routes not only boosts morale, but also sends a clear message of safety to the people of Kogi State. Now, outside the shores of Nigeria, the United States formally warned South Africa against pushing for a joint statement at this weekend's Group of 20 summit in Johannesburg that the Trump administration is boycotting. A diplomatic standoff is particularly awkward given it's first time the continent is hosting a G20 and President Cyril Ramaphosa is passing a baton to US President Donald Trump at the end of the year. Tensions between the two men came to a head at an Oval Office meeting in May, where Ramaphosa had to endure dressing down in front of the cameras. Trump escalated the spat further by saying he wouldn't attend the summit and followed up with a complete boycott of the event. And that's all on Breakfast Headlines. Breakfast Central continues shortly. I am Benga Aboroa.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us here on Breakfast Central. Definitely, we're going straight to the front pages of the newspapers. We do have our newspaper analyst in-house, and we're looking at some of the biggest stories. But before that, today marks a very, very important day, especially one that has got to do with a big decision that would either go left or go right. But let's join our correspondent who's there live, and let's introduce you to what's really happening there in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. For those who have been following the case concerning Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, well, today happens to be a very important day in that case. Joshua Imarayi joins us from the Federal Capital Territory, all dressed in black, and of course a little touch of red there. Good morning to you, Joshua, and welcome. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Joe. It is Judgment Day, and of course, any moment from now, we will know the real fate of the Biafra Nation agitator Nnamdi Kanu, where the security is tight, movement is controlled, and detentions are some sort of high. But let me give you a feel of what the environment here at the Federal High Court seems like. As you can see behind me is the gate of the Federal High Court, and that place is being manned by scores of security officers, talking about the DSS, from the correctional facility, from the Nigerian police force. We can't go outside because we tried going outside, even tried taking pictures of what the environment is like, but they denied us that access, saying that they don't want their faces to show on camera. But here at the Federal High Court, we are witnessing a high amount of security operatives, particularly agents of the DSS, scattered around several areas of the Federal High Court. Nnamdi Kanu was brought in earlier on, but they took him through the back gate as usual. But we are expecting that when judgment is delivered, he might come through the front gate. Joe.
Back to you, Joshua. We're hearing reports that the sentencing by Justice Omotosho will be broadcast live on television. Could you confirm if that information is true and the reason why they might be doing this?
And I can't verify if that information is true, but what we know is that Justice Omotosho is one who is an advocate of no cell phone, no transmission device in his courtroom. So it might be a little bit hard for Justice Omotosho to grant that. Of course, this is the first time that the case will be brought before any court of record, and the Federal High Court. Of course, you know that this same case has been before Justice Binta Nyako. Nnamdi Kanu has had his own fair share of social media activity where he was seen being taken in the court while he was arguing when the case was moved to Justice James Omotosho's court. But what I can tell you is that Justice James Omotosho will not allow anything of some sort. So that is being out of the equation.
All right, I guess in the next few hours, we'll know what the fate is. But you've given us what the security situation looks like. Have we seen any supporters of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu showing up, as we typically see in very high-profile cases, especially as this one has been an on and off situation? Have we seen maybe supporters showing up in the court arena? And is it, open to the public for them to attend the hearing? Or the judgment, rather? To
be honest with you, Olive, the Federal High Court currently is filled with security operatives, and that alone scares away any supporter of the kind. But earlier on, we saw the likes of Omoyele Sowore and Aloy Ejimakor, one of the fired lawyers of Nnamdi Kanu. They were the only ones cited around the premises of the Federal High Court. But before one can gain access into the premises of the Federal High Court, it is like a camel passing through the eyes of a needle. You have to, the person has to be subjected to different layers of screening. Even me myself, it had to take me a while and God's intervention before I could get into the Federal High Court. So that is the case here. The security operatives here are leaving no stones unturned when it comes to security protocol.
All right. I mean, work with News Central, so I bet it's quite understandable that you must gain access, because that's what we're known for. Always dogged and ready. Fearless reporting, no doubt.
Yeah, we bring the news to you wherever it is.
100%. 100%. But we also heard that 44 members of the House of Representatives, which included, just to highlight that, some of the northern and southern parts, had already asked the presidency to look into Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's release today. Can you confirm to us how that also happened? And do you think, we're not trying to preempt the judgment, but do you think would have some of those members present at this judgment, if at all?
One of the many resources that interested parties in this particular case is seeking to ensure that this justice might be met, or perhaps Nnamdi Kanu can be left off the hook, is the political situation. A couple of federal lawmakers wrote a letter to the president, and even the presidency himself have confirmed that let justice be done and let judgment be delivered before any interference can come in. But aside that, nothing else. But I don't want to be preemptive. Nnamdi Kanu chose not to open his defense while the trial was on, and this had to force the judge to waive his right to a defense, that he actually ruled that today is supposed to be judgment. So we are seeing that Nnamdi Kanu is relying on the argument of the prosecution, and maybe some of the written addresses and some of the filings he made, some of the motions and the application, the judge might consider that, but as regards the judgment, let justice be done.
Well, reports have it that the police have tightened security in the east pending the judgment of Nnamdi Kanu being heard. But in the next few hours, we'll know what his fate is and what the next steps are. Do stay safe, and we look forward to connecting with you again on subsequent shows.
Thank you, Joshua.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joshua.
Well done.
All right, let's now come back here in the studio to bring you the papers. Joining us is the Chief Coordinating Officer, Sustainable Stories Africa, Uwade Ahime. Good morning.
Good morning, Olive. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning to you.
My left hand, Pali.
I thought you were going to say your learned colleague.
No, my learned colleague is on my right side.
Shikuku wore suit, black and white.
We're all learned.
Yes,
we're educated.
and today you are prepared for the judgment in Abuja.
Yeah, because you also wore black.
And I think that statement, learned colleague, is discriminatory. It's about time we end it on this show.
Because we're all learned colleagues. I think we should stop that. We should just say our in-house. We should just say our in-house
what did
lawyer.
You learn? What did you learn?
She's not practicing.
We're all learned. You're all educated.
You are educated. You are not learned.
Educated.
No. I don't
so
like that.
henceforth on the show.
Are you learned?
Push the decree. What's the decree?
That we will stop using that word, learned.
Okay, so we'll replace it with
you and Joe. Okay, let's go. Can we look at the newspaper?
Thank you very much, Wade. Why the haters of the legal professionals and the learned colleagues are hating? Let the rest of us,
professional bodies.
Exactly. When they go to university and go to law school and write bar finals, they should come back and be arguing about learning.
I agree with you.
Let's now get into the papers.
In the bar.
On the front page of the Nigerian.
Which bar?
I was in the bar last night. I was called to a bar by my friends. I had a few choice beverages that I used to foam.
Your favorite
so
kind
you are
of
not
bar.
the only one that was called to bar.
No. So the bar, as a barrister and solicitor of Supreme Court. Okay, Nigerian Tribune. Terrorism is a big story on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. NLC, JNI can, others call for decisive action. As federal government says Nigeria's security put on highest Alert ever. Soldiers take over Kwara community. Youth block Ilorin Kaba Highway. Shettima in Kebbi says abductors of schoolgirls will face the law, will they? Kebbi local government area chairman releases names of abducted schoolgirls, refutes claim they are Christians. Take decisive action to return students, GNI says. Confront the evil before it consumes us all. NLC tells federal government. Attack on Nigeria, a destabilization plot, Northern Can says. And President aborts G20 AU-EU meetings and awaits security briefings. Let's start with insecurity. This week has been a hard week. Every day has been one update, one or two updates regarding insecurity, and it feels like it's been progressively worse. What can we do? Does it look like we know what we're doing, or does it feel like we're currently being overrun or overwhelmed by the security situation? And an analyst earlier says our security forces are not yet overwhelmed. That if they are, we will not be in the studio having this conversation. But does it look like we know what we're doing?
Wow. So invariably, what that means is that if we're not overwhelmed, then we should be at war in every part of Nigeria, and that's the way I read that statement, and that's an unfortunate statement in my own opinion. Why? Because it hasn't been in the headlines in the last 12 to 18 months. Doesn't mean it hasn't been happening. We've spoken so many times about the insecurity in Nigeria on this show, but we didn't see it in the front pages of the newspapers. But I think the last week or the last couple of weeks has just shown us that it's getting towards the Yuletide. More and more people are looking for sources of money that they would use to go home. And I'm sure you understand what I mean by that. For those who want to go and celebrate and show off one way or the other, that's my opinion, please. But the fact remains is that we've been in this insecurity state since 2009, 2010. That's almost 15, 16 years of this democracy. And it just doesn't augur well with where Nigeria should be going. Because one, it disrupts the economy. All forms of gain in the economy is always thrown down the drain, especially when Nigerians are killed. And that's what has been happening over the last 16 years. Nigerians are being killed, and every day we come out and hear, oh, we commiserate with the families. And the irony of it is that it's not just ordinary Nigerians that are being killed. Our military personnel are being killed also. So what are we doing?
And we don't acknowledge that enough, because they're in the front line.
Because and we need to give them huge kudos. Why? Because for the last 16 years, they've been fighting wars across Nigeria, different kinds of what you call the new kinds of war. In the northeast, in the northwest, in the southeast, at one point in the southwest, in the middle belt. And what are we doing? Every day we hear the same rhetoric. We're going to deal with this decisively. In some other newspapers I saw this morning, we're going to recruit 24,000 new military personnel in the next 12 months. Is that what we're talking about?
What approach would you rather suggest? Beyond more personnel?
One of the reports says that the DSS identified what was going to happen. I think it was in Kebbi, and they notified the military and the governor. Security operatives should collaborate more. They should work jointly to make sure they prevent this kind of things. That's the first thing. And then if we're at war, then let's declare war on this and actually go into those places and wipe out terrorism. It's unfortunate because it's the same people who are screaming that they're killing Nigerians. When you do that, will tell you it's a human rights abuse. But I always use the example of, I think it's Sri Lanka and the Tamil Tigers. I was maybe a toddler when they started that.
Well, it lasted for decades.
And it lasted for decades till about 10 years ago, when a man who was maybe like 12 or 13 then became the head of the military, and they decided to deal with it decisively. Unfortunately, some communities who continued to hurt them were affected. But in the last 10 years, the bombings in Sri Lanka has gone down. the terrorist activities in Sri Lanka has gone down. If that's the approach we must use to fight this kind of modern warfare,
I think the general consensus now,
I think, is what we should do.
The general consensus, apart from Sheikh Gumi, is that we need to stop, take gloves off, stop this count and stick approach, and
yes, let's stop. Now let's stop glove boxing and let's do
deal with it decisively.
If that's your opinion. Have you seen Reno Mokri's tweets? Because earlier when you were talking about, Joe was asking if
what has he said?
Had tweeted about the girls who had been kidnapped. I actually did go and check, and in that, whilst I'm going to read out the tweet so that you can see exactly what he said. He talked about. Oh, now I'm looking for it. My internet is acting up. But he was saying basically that he commiserates with them and their families. But then, in the same breath, mentions that it has reduced considerably from what happened.
Please, I mean, why are you comparing? Olive. Sorry, guys, please, I want to beg. Please, let's not refer to Reno Mokri. Let's move.
Let's take a look at the front page of the Tribune. We're still looking at the Tribune newspaper. Please, let's have it up. There's an important story there that I want us to take before going to the Wadata Plaza drama and the police sealing it off after the disgraceful act has happened. We'll come back to that after this. Ribadu Egbetokun Fagbemi, NSA, Inspector General of Police, and the Chief Justice of Nigeria leading a federal government 10-man
delegation.
10 man, no woman, to meet U.S. Congressman Riley Moore. Who is Riley Moore? Riley Moore is a U.S. Congressman representing West Virginia. And, he's in the House Appropriations Committee, the U.S. House. And you take the upper echelon, the hierarchy of Nigeria's defense infrastructure. Why is the IG there? To go and meet a man who is not even on he's not the head of the Foreign Relations Committee. Yesterday, this same Riley Moore tweeted an erroneous tweet that, so it shows you that they don't even have intelligence or they don't even know what they are doing. He said that the girls that were kidnapped in Baga were from a predominantly Christian community. So basic information like that. You have a congressman missing it. He said these Christian girls were kidnapped from a school, and it's lie. And then we are sending. Don't we have any sense of sovereignty? That's why many people are wondering why we haven't even appointed an ambassador. You're sending your
Chief of
your national security advisor. In a time when we have active and current security crisis,
you are sending your chief security apparatus.
Yes. To meet a congressman of West Virginia.
The Attorney General, the Inspector General of Police, your chief security, head of your chief security. That's your security architecture.
And so what happens with CDS? The CDS is also there. General Olufemi Oluyede. And the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs.
All the people who are supposed to
Chief of Defense Intelligence
are going somewhere to meet.
And then we're saying that terrorism is gaining the upper hand. How won't it?
I have an analogy I just want to share with you guys. It's like you having children in your house, and then somebody comes in and starts beating your children, right? And while they're beating your children, someone outside is saying, oh, they are beating your children. Instead of trying to save your children, you leave them and go outside to meet the person that said they're beating your children to say,
and start fighting.
So can I beg, how did they beat them?
They're not beating your children. High officials of the United States government. They're not meeting Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense. They're not meeting J.D. Vance, the Vice President. The real policymaker.
They are not meeting
a single congressman,
who is the Foreign Secretary.
Foreign Secretary. I mean, this is quite a shame.
Anyway,
on our part.
like I said earlier, we've taken this insecurity thing as a joke, and it's not just this administration. Please pardon me. We took it as a joke right from when it started with Boko Haram. When the narrative was, they were attacking Christians and they were attacking public offices, and it was, when you talk about the Haram and it's the Western culture. But you see, go and learn history all the people who have fought against this so-called Western culture were all educated through the same Western culture system. Osama bin Laden in America.
I mean, they do videos. Isn't all Western propaganda? Are they not using Western tools?
Who his father sued the American government for killing him as an American citizen who was terrorizing America. So let's not make the mistakes of thinking that this is your traditional warfare. No. Intelligence plays a lot here. And if you have the intelligence and all the intelligence agencies are not working hand in hand to quell it, that's why you can send the four most senior intelligence people.
Your CDS.
No, well, let me finish. Your four most senior intelligence people.
Your IGP.
Or security system out of Nigeria when Nigerians are being killed.
Yes.
That's the only thing I can say about that. When Nigerians are being killed, then you carry those who are responsible for it, and then you carry them and say they are going to.
They might argue that the end justifies the means. Let's see what happens. What comes out of that meeting.
So what's the end? That you want American boots in Nigeria?
No, they should give us the platforms
going to dissuade them. I know
and assist us in dealing with terrorism.
And the irony of it is that I don't really think America wants boots outside America. Not Donald Trump.
Why?
After what he did in Afghanistan, he set the tone for the Americans living in Afghanistan. It's the man that continues to tell you that he's trying to stop wars and they should give him a Nobel Prize for peace. What makes you think he wants to? Yes, he wants to stop the aid to Nigeria. So maybe that's why they are going to meet the appropriation man so that the money can continue to flow in.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
But the reality is that I don't think Donald Trump wants to put boots, any American boots, anywhere outside America.
You'll be surprised.
I'm not so.
Okay.
You'll be very surprising.
Let's just open the phone lines and let you know that if you want to call, the numbers to call are on your TV screen. But also just to mention that we have live footage from Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu is currently in court. We did speak to our correspondent, Joshua Ghamari. This is live footage from Nnamdi Kanu in court. We might listen to it for a bit and then come back to continue the newspaper review.
The question by my younger brother, Prince Emmanuel Kanu, also dated the 12th day of November 2025. There is an accompanying affidavit of urgency, which was deposited by my humble self, also filed on the 12th day of November 2025, and also a written address. My Lord, in support of the motion on notice, praying for the orders I had earlier outlined, that too was dated on the 12th day of November. My Lord, may I most graciously ask my Lord to grant these prayers. Thank you very much.
What about the other two motions?
I should move my sentiment?
Yes.
Thank you.
I've made an order consolidating the hearing of the three motions.
Yes. The next one, my Lord, is an application, a notice of my commitment to file a final written address, which was dated the 11th day of November and filed on the same 11th day of November. It is accompanied, my Lord, by grounds upon which this very application is predicated, and the grounds are 4 in number, my Lord. And I went on to elucidate the body of objection and then the constitutional foundation and jurisdictional limits of this very court.
Do you have the grounds stated?
Yes, my Lord, you may. Ground number 1, my Lord, states here, the defendant, having polled evidence through cross-examination of all the complainant's witnesses, has given evidence and entitled to the summation of those points through a final written address. So I have actually entered my defense, my lord. What I did not do is to call a witness, because the evidence tendered by the prosecution were surgically demolished. The right to guarantee, my lord, the right to final address is a fundamental constitutional right, integral to fair hearing under Section 36, Sub 1 of the 1999 Constitution, and no court had jurisdiction to unilaterally order its waiver without the express, informed, and voluntary consent of the right holder, which is myself. The third ground, any order directing or implying a waiver of final address constitutes a breach of fair hearing, my lord, which goes to the root of the court's jurisdiction and renders the entire proceedings a nullity. The court, ground number 4, the court lacks jurisdiction to extinguish or dispense with mandatory procedural stage of criminal adjudication, such as a final written address, as this would amount to an unlawful assumption of power beyond the limits prescribed by the Constitution and extant laws. And ground number 4, for reference purposes, my lord, Section 36(1) of the 1999 Constitution, which I'm sure the court has taken judicial notice of. Those are my grounds, my lord, in respect of the notice seeking this court's discretion to allow me to file my final written address. Having entered my defense, I move that this very notice be adopted, my lord, in its entirety. The third and the very last one is the issue of bail. My lord, the issue of bail. This was dated the 17th day of November 2025 and filed on the 17th day of November 2025. It's a very simple one. It is a notice, my lord, brought pursuant to sections 35(1), 35(4), and 36(12) of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, sections 158, 162, and 165 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015, and under the inherent jurisdiction of this very noble court, I am praying, my lord, for an order admitting me on bail, the defendant applicant to bail on liberal terms, pending the determination of the invalid charge presently before this court, and order, my lord, declaring that the continued detention of the defendant applicant, my humble self, in the absence of a valid subsisting charge under a written law in force, is unconstitutional, null and void, my lord, and for any other orders that my noble lord may deem fit to make under the circumstance. This is supported by an affidavit of 9 paragraphs deposed to by Prince Emmanuel Kano, and also by a written address which I urge my lord to accept its adoption. Honorable Lord.
You move the 3 applications?
I have, my lord.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For the sitting counsel, can you react to those 3 applications?
Please, Your Lordship. The prosecution filed reply to the first motion on the 14th of November 2025. We also filed a reply, a counter affidavit and a reply in respect of the first motion But the second motion we also got a reply all on the 14th of November 2025. For the third one, for the further application for bail, we did not file any counter affidavit. So for the first one, sir, I respectfully adopt the counter affidavit of the prosecution and the written address. I would urge your lordship to dismiss the application because it's a regurgitation or repetition of the well-worn argument that the counts which the defendant pleaded to are unknown to law. It is for your lordship to determine that in other ones. But the one asking for stay of proceedings, my lord, our argument is to the fact that the statute does not permit your lordship to grant any stay or proceedings or injunction. So we urge your lordship to dismiss it. And for the second, we also filed a written address dated 14/11. We adopted with all respect, and we urge your lordship to dismiss the application as lacking in merit. For the last application, asking for the defendant to be admitted to bail on the same ground that, the count to which he pleaded not guilty were unknown to law. Again, is a repetition of the old argument. It is for lordship to determine whether the laws were valid and whether he is answerable to the law when he committed the terrorism acts. The terrorism acts he committed was... So we have the lordship to dismiss the application. On the other ground is also to the fact that the applicant has another pending motion filed in March, in April 2025, asking for the same relief, bail. So the latter bail, the latter application with respect, is an abuse. In any event, none of them merits. We urge your lordship to dismiss it.
Let's save the time of the court.
We are praying your lordship to dismiss all the applications because they lack in merit and do not deserve any consideration at all. Thank you, my lord.
Defendant, you have one or two words to say?
Most certainly, my lord, and I'm most grateful. My point is a very simple one, my lord. Very, very simple. My charge sheet, as presently constituted, does not reveal or disclose any written law in Nigeria as at this very morning. It doesn't exist, my lord. And very finally, I think it is very, very important that I allude to what my lords...
Please, defendants, at this point, you won't go and make references. I just ask you to reply on point of law.
It is, my lord. I'm trying to explain exactly what the point of law is all about, with respect to what he has just said.
Let me hear the point of law.
My lord, I cite Eze v.
I'm coming. Consultants, you will guide me properly. Yeah, thank you. Let the consultant sit with his client. Or do you have all the consultants, do they want to sit with their clients? Okay, let me see you. Are you here? Mandela, you are here. Opera? Okay. Where are the other? Ejiofor? Where are the other? Everywhere. Yes, you just have 2 minutes for this. Yes, up 2 minutes for this.
Thank you, my Lord. I'm most grateful. Once again, I will start with the bail application that I made. Since he did not file any counter affidavit, my Lord, he is in effect conceding. And I expect that this very application should be determined based on the affidavit that I filed. And on the issue of stay, my Lord, once a matter borders on jurisdiction, stay can be granted. Once it is a jurisdictional matter, stay can be granted. What I'm asking for is for a referral, my Lord, to the appeal court for the determination of these very key issues. And also, I reiterate that ACJA is not superior. It is not superior to the Constitution of this very country, and an established jurisprudence as determined by the Supreme Court that stays can be invoked insofar as the issue borders on jurisdiction. And my Lord, this is very, very critical. Not minding anything we may have said before, or I may have said, the fact of the matter is that the very count 7 laid under Criminal Code Act Cap C45, my Lord, is not Nigerian law. It doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist. Why should I be in detention over charges that don't exist, my Lord? It doesn't.
You are still in the 2 minutes.
Okay. Just, yes, please. I ask, my Lord, that I be granted bail on very favorable terms, given that a concurring judgment of the Supreme Court of Nigeria determined, my Lord, and found that I did not jump bail. I never did. That was their finding. I did not jump bail. And that the revocation of my bail implied bias.
Okay.
Thank you, my Lord.
Thank you. You may sit down. I'm going to read extempore as the application and all before this court. The defendant filed 3 applications after the matter was adjourned today for judgment. The defendant filed a motion on the 17th day of November 2025, seeking for 2 reliefs. 1, an order admitting the defendant's applicant to bail on liberal terms pending the determination of the invalid charge presently before this honorable court. The second relief is for an order declaring that the continued detention of the defendant applicants in the absence of a valid subsisting charge under written law in force is unconstitutional and void. The second application is the motion on notice dated and filed on the 12th day of November 2025, seeking for 2 reliefs. The first relief, as stated in this motion, is an order referring certain substantial constitutional questions arising in this trial to the Court of Appeal pursuant to Section 295, Sub 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended. The second relief is an order staying further proceedings in the charge pending the determination of the required questions by this court to the Court of Appeal. Motion has to do with the notification to file written address. As defendant stated, he has put in his defense as his right to file written address should not be taken away from him. I've considered also the processes filed by the prosecution in reaction to some of the motions. In the application seeking to refer some questions to the Court of Appeal.
It's the ongoing court judgment of Nnamdi Kanu's case. It's live and we are indeed bringing that to you. But on that note, we're going to wrap up Breakfast Central. Thank you so much for watching. A big thanks to Adehime for being here.
Thank you so much.
I'm Joe Hansen.
And I am Olive Emodi.
And I'm Benga Borough. Remember to join us for the town hall on gender violence today. We'll be bringing you that live at 1 p.m. today.
But we'll be reconnecting now to continue with the live judgment delivery in the case the federal government has against Nnamdi Kanu. So we'll be bringing that to you right away. See you tomorrow.
Peace out.
And this court has made an order that all preliminary objections or issues shall be taken during the judgments. This court is bound by that order. However, the issue as regards to referral of questions to the Court of Appeal and the stay of proceedings the statutory law governing criminal procedure in Nigeria, to its Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015. By Section 306 of that Act, which provides that an application for stay of proceedings in respect of criminal matters before court shall not be entertained. This statutory provisions was initiated by the Court of Appeal in the case of Shuaibu versus Federal Republic of Nigeria. I must speak as to the essence, the reason for this statutory provision, that is Section 306 of Administration of Criminal Justice Act. The essence of this provision is to prevent inordinate delay through the filing of appeals while trial is going on. For this reason, the Section 306 of Administration of Criminal Justice Act having provided that such application shall not be entertained, this court shall not entertain same. As regards to the application seeking for bail, we have different types of bail applications. application can be bail pending trial or bail pending appeal. I've looked at the application for bail. This application before this court does not fall within those two classes of application for bail. In this matter, as also stated by the defendant, that he has put in his defense. Hearing has been concluded. And also, by the order of this court, on the 27th day of October 2025, the court made an order that the defendant should next date put in his defense, or if he's not putting his defense, he should file address which shall be deemed to be final address. The defendant portion to that filed motion and comprehensive address. It is based on this that I hold that issues are relieved is highly unmeritorious. Same is hereby dismissed. Like I said earlier, all other issues have been raised through that motion and comprehensive final address that was deemed as final address, and another motion filed thereafter. This court, in the interest of justice, will not close its eyes to see. The court will determine all this issue in its judgments. I proceed, I deliver my judgment. Judgment, please.
My Lord, I have an objection. Final written address is a constitutionally mandated right which I must be granted. It is in the constitution of this very country that final written addresses, my Lord, must be granted. I have not waived it, my Lord, and I insist that I address this court on all these issues. My Lord, do not forget.
Defendants?
My Lord.
Consultants, can you tell
My Lord, I will not, please, let me finish. Please. It's my case. It is my case, my Lord, let me finish. My Lord, in this very court, Emeka Itiaba SAN was here, my Lord. Emeka Itiaba SAN said, at the right time we will contradict or controvert a piece of evidence. A piece of evidence given in this very court. I need to write my final written address, my Lord. I must.
Count charge which reads thus.
My Lord, my Lord, I'm saying it clearly.
Defendant.
I am entitled to final written address.
Defendant.
What is my final written address? It's in the Constitution. My final written address.
Defendant.
My Lord, my final written address. Where is it?
Can you listen to the court?
I'm not, my Lord, please. Please.
Can you listen to the court?
Please, my Lord. I need to file my final written address. It's in the Constitution.
I appeal to you to comport yourself this temple of justice.
My Lord, you are biased. You are biased. This is not law. You are biased. It's not law.
Please, I beg you to comport yourself.
My Lord, this is not law. Show me where it says you can waive my right to final written address. Show me. My Lord, you are conducting their case for them. You are the one running their case for them. Let them show me that the prosecution, show me where it says you can waive my right to final written address. And I'll sit down.
You have the right to appeal after my...
No, my Lord. This is a perversion of the cause of justice. This is not law. It is not law.
Can you excuse me?
My Lord, I cannot excuse nullity and illegality.
Can you let him
it's not possible. It is not possible, my Lord. You must show me where the Constitution says you have the right to waive my written address. You must show me.
Excuse him.
Show me. Show me where it says so. Show me. Show me where it says so.
Excuse him.
Is that why you brought the cameras? Is that why you brought them today?
Please.
You didn't bring it before. You brought it today.
Please.
Show me where it says you can try me on a repealed law. Show me. Show me where it says that repeat law. I said, show me. Show me. Show me.
Get the microphone from him.
No, leave it. Leave it. Leave it. I said, leave it. It's a court of law. I'm under trial. I'm under trial and I have to speak. I'm under trial and I have to speak. Listen to me. Listen to me, please. I'm under trial. I'm under trial. I'm under trial. And I must address the court. Wait. No, listen to me. Please. The judge must listen to me. No. Wait. Wait. I'm asking a very simple question. No. Wait. Please. Look, this is Supreme Court. Wait, hold on. This is Supreme Court here. Hold on a second. Hold on. I said hold on. May I inquire? This is not a court of law. It's not a court of law. What you're doing is not law. You don't know the law. Show me. I said show me where you have the right to waive my right to final address. Show me. It's what the Constitution says. Show me. Show me. You cannot show me. You cannot show me. You cannot show me because you don't know the law. You can't show me. Wait, hold on a second. Don't touch me. Don't you dare touch me. People who don't know law, show me where it says you can waive my right. Show me the place I'm asking you. Show me. Show me. Show me. Which law says you can try me an unwritten law? Show me. You cannot show me. And you're a judge. You claim you're a judge. You don't know law. You don't know law. Nonsense. Where is the final written address? Where is it? Which law gave you the right to waive my final written address? Which law gave you that right? Nonsense. You think I'm trying this with illiterates and you try with me? Because you are mad. What's this one doing here? What are you doing here? What are you doing here? What are you doing here? Ask me what are you doing here? This is the idiot that attacked me. This is the fool that attacked me. That's the idiot that attacked me. That's the fool. Don't touch me. Don't push me. I'm going, don't touch me. I'm warning you, don't touch me. I'm warning you, don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. I said, don't touch me. Don't. Smart people. You don't know law. Show me where it says you can waive my right to final address. Show me the law. Show me the law. I want to show me the law. You don't know law. They are remoting you. You are writing rubbish. Show me the law. Unaddressed affidavit. You say you waive it. Are you doing their job for them? I'm going to punish you now and forever. Any judgment, let it be on record. Any judgment given in this court is rubbish. Ask him where is the law. Ask Omotosho, where is the law? Where is the law?
Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently harmless, it becomes harmful and damaging when used without discretion and thoughtfulness. Bad social media users spread